from construction through.
Welcome everyone to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Charter Township of Washington Board of Trustees. Today is Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. Tonight I have a special guest to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's Pastor Steve Barkey. I'm proud to recognize Pastor Steve Barkey as an outstanding member of our community for his dedicated service and full-time Christian ministry since 1994, since launching the Orchard Ridge Church of the Nazarene in 2003. Pastor Barkey has faithfully led us with passion and commitment, guiding his congregation from a small basement gathering to a thriving church on 23 acres right here in Washington Township on Mound. We thank him for his unwavering leadership, his heartfelt, faith-driven prayers at Township events, and the profound impact he continues to make in our community. So if he'd like to please come to the podium and we could all stand and go to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't know. Maybe could you just give a little 2-minute synopsis on the church or what you guys are doing? Any events?
Talked to your assistant and said, okay, what's expected here? So, just a couple of thoughts that I think would be meaningful to the whole community. The first one that comes to mind is tomorrow morning we'll have a meeting of all of the pastors that desire to be a part of it, and usually there's anywhere between 6 to 10 that will come. These are pastors from our community. And the reason I want to say that is if anybody's watching this or hearing it and you attend in the Washington Romeo Bruce community, first Thursday of every month for 1 hour. What brought that about was the tragedy in Oxford back at the end of 2021. We all watched that happen, and it occurred to me as I was watching that community ask for all the ministers to show up and to serve, that if anything remotely tragic like that were to happen in our community, we would show up and then we'd be introducing ourselves to one another because none of us knew who the others were. So I kind of took it upon myself to reach out, did the homework, got the phone numbers, and put it out there for every church in our community, and suggested that we would just come together for an hour once a month just to see how everybody was doing. So that's happened, and 3 years later, we meet at a different church every time we do it. So there's a healthy faith community. Just thought I'd share that. So church is doing great. We just finished 2024, which is our 20th year, and by all the measurable markers, it was the best year that we've ever had. We added a second service. We're in a building giving campaign. We hope to pay cash for whatever's next so that we're not financing it. And God is good. Come visit us every Sunday at 9 a.m. or 10:45. And the next big community-wide event we're having is our egg hunt, which is free to the public, and 10,000 eggs and a whole lot of stuff. And that will be, Easter is late this year. So the Easter egg hunt is going to be, I'm looking here, April the 12th, Saturday from noon to 2. And that's it. Thank you.
So I'd like to present this proclamation honoring Pastor Steve Barkey. Whereas Pastor Steve Barkey has dedicated his life to serving others while through his full-time Christian ministry, beginning as a youth pastor in 1994 and continuing as a lead pastor since 2003. Whereas in the summer of 2003, Pastor Barkey moved to Washington, Michigan, where he faithfully launched the Orchard Ridge Church of the Nazarene with just 25 dedicated individuals meeting in the residential basement. Whereas for 18 years, Pastor Barkey and his congregation have persevered as a portable church, holding services in local schools until September 2021, when Orchard Ridge Church opened its own permanent home on 23 acres in Washington Township. Whereas Pastor Barkey has been a steadfast leader in our community, offering spiritual guidance, unwavering faith, and heartfelt prayers at Township events, enriching our gathering with his wisdom and dedication. And whereas his service and leadership have strengthened the fabric of Washington Township, inspiring countless individuals through his commitment to faith, community, and service. Therefore, let it be resolved that we proudly recognize and honor Pastor Steve Barkey as our outstanding member of our community, expressing our deepest gratitude for his contribution and unwavering commitment to Washington Township. And I want to thank him personally. He's helped us so much with all our Memorial Day events. So thank you so much. I love the way this guy
Thank you.
talks.
Humbled by this and didn't see it coming. Thought I was just doing
You tricked them.
It's great.
Okay. Okay, back to work. If our clerk would lead us in the attendance roll call.
Supervisor Praviti.
Present.
Clerk Brown, present. Treasurer Nicely.
Here.
Trustee Chaplin.
Here.
Trustee Mylum.
Here.
Trustee Reinhold.
Here.
Trustee Stevenson.
Here. Okay, all present. Next, you see before you the agenda. I'd like to make 2 changes to the agenda on 11-2. We're going to keep the request for the 2026 Lifeline Type 1 Superline. No, I'm reading the wrong thing. We're removing that. RMS. So we're adding an IT system. It's called RMS. It's in the board packet, but there were 2 items put in there. We're just putting the RMS. The ambulance, we still have to review the contract better. If the board's okay, due to time constraint, I'd like to make a 10.0 for construction engineering services, which impact, it's on the bridge that we're going to get the pedestrian bridge on 26 with the SEMCOG grant. And I have Taylor Reynolds here from Spalding to explain it. I'd like to put it kind of ahead so she can free. I don't want to keep her here all night, if that's okay.
Where do you want to move that to?
To 10.0.
Okay.
10.0? Okay,
I know it doesn't really exist.
I'll fit it in.
We'll fit it in. Any other changes, additions, deletions? Otherwise, I'll make a motion with the 2 noted changes. Support. Supported by Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Next, you're being asked to approve the consent agenda. You're being asked to approve the accounts payable of January 31st, 2025, approve the minutes of the Board of Trustee meeting of January 15th, 2025, accept the Zoning Board of Appeals minutes of August 12th and December 2nd, 2024, accept the Planning Commission meeting minutes of December 12th, 2024, and accept the Treasury report of the 4th quarter.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Support.
Okay, motion by Brown, seconded by Stevenson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Any moved agenda items? There's none. Next is comments from the audience on agenda items only. Please come to the podium. If you'd like to address the board on any agenda item, you have 3 minutes. State your name and address. Please come to the podium. Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you very much. Next is legal counsel. Thank you, Bob. Next, we have a presentation tonight. 9.1, Macomb Agricultural Purchase of Development Rights Committee. So we have Ken DeCook and our favorite Abby Jacobson of Westview Orchard.
Good morning, board members. I'd like to,
Good evening.
I hope
What?
this evening.
Good evening.
what was,
You say good morning.
I mean,
We said good night.
hey,
I know, we normally have.
I'm not accustomed to doing public speaking. You can ask Abby. That's why she's behind her to keep me on track. I just want to thank Trustee John Chaplin for asking me to come because he's your representative for the PDR committee from Washington Township, and he says you got some new board members to make you familiar of what this Macomb Agricultural PDR committee is about. And right off the bat, we are a branch of the townships. You, your previous board members, and when we started this, which I'll go into a little detail later, formed this committee to represent you in applying for grant money to try and preserve farmland here in the 6 top townships of Macomb County. So, being said, for the brief history, back in about the mid-1990s, and that's a way long time ago. If you can remember, 1990s, late 1980s, things were going gangbusters. Land, houses were going up, commercial, everything. And as farmers, I got a farm operation in Macomb Township on 23 Mile. We were getting squeezed. We were seeing a lot of land turn around because a lot of the land we rent, we don't own. So working, talking amongst ourselves, and at the time there was a new county commissioner named Don Brown, worked with us, and we decided to see what the townships would be willing to help do to get a resolution to the County Board of Commissioners to have something looked at with this issue to see about trying to preserve some farmland in Macomb County. And there's where Citizens for Quality Growth sprung up, grassroots. We went to, I think there's 27 municipalities in Macomb County. We went to 25 of them and got them to pass a resolution to ask the county board to look at this issue. During the same time, Michigan Farm Bureau and other farm organizations was working in Lansing to do some type of means to preserve farmland, to keep land in agriculture. So through the works, we got the commitment from the commissioners saying, yeah, they're interested in helping, supporting, and we worked to get the guidelines to apply for grants to the state. That's where the Macomb Agricultural Purchase of Development Rights Committee came from, the formation from the 5 townships at the time. Later on, Washington Township joined in with us. So we got Bruce, Armada, Richmond, Washington, Ray, and Lennox townships, which covered most of the ag land in the county, to agree to work together to apply for grants and try to preserve some of the farm industry. Through this, we had the help of attorney Bob Siebert, because the requirements for the state was the municipality had to have an ordinance. They had to have that listed on their master plan, allowing where they designate, plus form a committee and a scoring system to apply for this grant money. It took a while, but we accomplished it. And right now, we have over 400 acres preserved in Macomb County, 1 in Ray Township, 3 or 4 in Richmond, and 1 in Bruce Township. So one of the drawbacks of this is the state ain't giving out much money to do this. We're in competition with any other program across the state of Michigan. And there's where that Michigan Agricultural Preservation Fund program came about. They're the ones designated by the state to accept applications, score them, rate them, and see how far they can go with what little bit of funds they have to give grants out to preserve it. And you might say, well, what do you need to preserve it for? In your zoning maps, you got 6, 7, 8, 9 different classifications: commercial, industry, B1, B2, residential, 1, 2, 3. All those different designations use buildings to commit that land use to, except agriculture. We deal with open farmland. There's nothing to commit it to say, okay, somebody wants to build a subdivision next to this farm. What kind of setbacks do we have to have? What kind of means and barriers, if any, to preserve and respect the land uses on either side? Because that farmland, there's nothing to designate it and commit it to a long-term use. Where with this PDR program, this is forever. There's a little clause in case it needs to be come out, but it's pretty much forever that the community knows that land is going to be used for some type of agricultural purpose. It might not be for dairies, it might not be for soybeans and corn. It could be for sweet corn, peppers, and tomatoes in the future or whatever, but it's going to be used for agriculture. So that's why this developmental rights purchase comes about. And when we started this with the different townships, we came up with a fee of $250 a year from each participating township, because sometimes there's seminars to go to or other events to put on, or whatever. It was a gradual way of building up some funds. And from the information I gave you, you can see we gradually built up funds. Being we were able to do that, we were able to use those funds for help, for matching funds at the state level. Because if you've done with grants, everybody's looking to see, we'll match you, or how much you're willing to throw into the pot to show your use and commitment. The $500 pledge. On the Ag Fund Board, underscoring items, how much is the community willing to throw in again into the pot? When we first did this, and it first came out at the state level, the 5 townships each agreed to kick in $1,000. We got the top notch on that year, over $270-some thousand to preserve. Plus, throwing in $5,000 from the 5 townships. Plus, we were able to wrestle $15,000 out of Macomb County Farm Bureau as a pledge to use that for a match to get another $15,000 from Carl's Foundation. So there's where we were working and manipulating and using the money to improve and give more. And that's why you used to have to do it, I think it was last year, pay up on a pledge you did for $500 for a price of property we closed in Richmond Township. That money didn't come out until we came to closing time, in case there was hiccups or the property owner backed out or something. But that's how we've been working that. And again, this is through your committee representatives informing you what's going on, and with every township board approving it on that part. So the Agriculture Preservation Fund Board does a yearly grant cycle. And this one, the end for applying for grants is March 7th. So we have 2 parcels going in. There's where last year we asked for a written commitment, a pledge of $500. If one of our parcels gets selected, that Washington Township would be willing to provide $500 towards it. Pretty much in a nutshell, again, we're an extension of the townships. We answer to you. We represent you and inform you, and working together. And like I say, so far we got over 400 acres preserved. Last year we had 2 or 3 other parties from different townships inquire, but they weren't quite ready to commit to doing it. It's a lengthy process, and I've been the chair since Macomb Agriculture Committee came about, and I've been pushing and toning the line saying, we're here to help residents who want to apply, answer questions, but we are not going to talk them into it because it is a big decision to make. We're not out to sell it, we're out to explain it. And from some of the handouts I gave you showing some of the examples, it shows what can happen. And I know Abby probably came across some people. I've had experiences where an elderly couple farming, they retire, but they get 2, 3, or 4 kids, and maybe one of them wants to farm to keep it going. But then, and Seabrook can back this up, it comes in, how do you settle the estate? How do you divide things up? Because most likely, the finances, the funds that couple had is in the land they bought years ago and worked in that. This is one way to help divide it up. My mother's family, the grandparents passed away. The youngest boy kept the farm going. But when the last parent passed, it came time to divide up the estate. And he said, if I can afford it, I'd like to buy it. Well, the appraisal came back way more than what he could afford. So that piece of the farm had to be sold to settle the estate, to give the other kids their fair share, and that part. So it's a great means. It's not the cure-all for farming, but like I say, it helps in a sense because there's no tax abatements or tax credits for buying farmland. You got it for industry, you got it for some other developments and whatnot, and this is one means to try and level the playing field a little bit, try and keep an ag industry in Macomb County and hopefully in Washington Township. So if you have any questions, be happy to answer them for you.
The $500, is that now or is that coming later? Sorry.
The way we work it,
Okay.
when this past year, we got a commitment from the Washington Township Board. If one of our applicants get accepted and it comes time to sign the papers and seal the deal, we'll ask each township to write the check and send it in to Richmond Township, where we'll pull it together and put it towards that. That way, there ain't money going back and forth, where if we were to ask for the money up front and it don't come through or we don't get accepted or whatever, what are you guys doing with that money?
Right.
It's here in the townships until time to do it. Because our first year, our first parcel, we went through 2 or 3 different processes of different people. First one declined, the other one had to back out, and finally the third one we could do it, and then we got the money to complete it.
So Ken, you said there are 2 parcels that you're looking at, so do you need $500 times 2? Is that what you're asking for? Or
No, I ain't asking for nothing now.
I know, but for the future, you
We
want
have
us to...
2 parcels that we're going to be sending the applications in
Correct,
by March 7th,
correct.
hoping to get one.
Oh, I see.
Winning the lotto if we get 2 of them.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure.
And we had a discussion about that, and we're thinking, let's kick the can down the road until we see if we get it. It's better on this, to me, on this scenario, to worry about when it comes than trying to plan and then it doesn't come.
Okay.
So I'm just here to explain. Everything's pretty much falling into place. The one great thing we've had is help from the Macomb County Planning Department. Through Don Brown, he was able to get us in contact and get it okayed, and they've been great in helping us write the grants, fill in the information, put things together, and handling it from there. So it's been a long time, but to me, one of the surprising things is we started with, I think it was 5 people. And now we built this up, we got it going, and to me, it shows anything can happen in America if you put your heart to it and do it. And one of the other good things is all these members and myself, it's in the bylaws, we work for nothing. I had one of the planning guys, when we first started this, tell me after we got it up and going, he goes, Ken, I didn't think you guys were going to do it. You weren't organized. You didn't have a mission. I go, yeah, but we had a heart because we were in it for the reason, not for the glory or coming out, a stepping stone. So, any other questions?
Let us know how it goes. Thank you.
Okay,
Please do.
Abby, you care to say anything?
I'd just like to thank all of you for supporting this program. I think it's very important for our community. I know over and over we've heard that people would like to maintain some of our rural character, and we're doing some of that here in Macomb County. And also I'd like to thank you for the privilege of me serving on behalf of all of you.
Thank you for serving.
Thank you, Abby.
All these years.
And Ken, thank you for coming out, both
Yes,
of you.
thank you so much.
This is, this program, I think, is invaluable. If you look at our history, it all goes back to agriculture. And if you look at our master plan, we acknowledge that. We talk about the agriculture, the roots of this community, and the preservation of that industry, because it's meant so much to the county and to Washington Township in particular. This has all of the burden of any bureaucracy that is run through the government. listen to them talk just at a single meeting, and the amount of regulations and hoops you have to jump through in order to get this stuff done are incredible. I'm being schooled very quickly in the bureaucracy of farming, and it's difficult. I have just a glimpse, and I appreciate the pain that these people go through in order to maintain their industry. But overall, I think the important part is that this program preserves farmland indefinitely. If you can get a piece of property into it, it's protected. It preserves that heritage, and it makes sure that that industry continues forward. So we appreciate the work you're doing, appreciate you coming out and explaining it to us, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future. Thank you.
Hey, Abby, I think at one time we had over 50 farms in Washington, somewhere in that area, and now we're down to a handful. So I think it is that we reserve as what we can. And I'm going to make the motion that we approve the annual fee of $250 and pledge the $500 at the time of need, payable to the Macomb Agricultural PDR Committee.
Support?
Okay, motion by Stevenson, second by Chaplin. If no questions, roll call.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Chaplin.
Yes.
Praviti.
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Nicely.
Yes.
Excuse me. Mylum.
Yes.
Reinhold.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. So when you're ready, we'll have the check ready. Thanks again.
Thank you, Abby.
Okay, we'll get into unfinished business. I'll call the new 10.0. I have Taylor here from Spalding to Decker to explain that pedestrian bridge that we're putting in.
Yes, good evening. In 2023, the township was granted a SEMCOG TAP grant for just over $1 million for completing the pedestrian connection on the north side of 26 Mile Road, east of M53, between Bedford and Beaconsfield. That crosses the Yates Drain and therefore needs a pedestrian bridge, which is a big expense, which is why the project was so expensive. Fortunately, the township's portion of that was in the range of about $200,000 for the $1 million project. That project has now been designed and bid out through MDOT, since it is a grant project, and the construction was recently awarded to Grand River Construction. Unlike what we're used to with MDOT projects, things started moving very quickly, and the contractor's ready to hit the ground running. So we have prepared, and I apologize for the late add to your board packet, but the contractor provided us with a schedule that states they are ready to move forward this month. You'll see in your packet a proposal from Spalding to Decker for construction engineering services, which includes survey staking, construction admin, construction inspection, design assistance, and material testing for a total of $227,190. Questions?
Do you know when that's going to be done by any chance? And the only reason why I ask is I see people walk along there all the time. And
Yeah, it's not a good place to walk.
And I don't want to have the chief there with his team
It's supposed to be November 15th.
taking
Yes.
it out. But, and when I see people walking over there, they're so close to the barrels and to the road. Would there be a spot where they can walk on instead of going around the barrels onto the road? So right now what they're doing is they're kind of weaving themselves in and out of the barrels as they walk towards.
Right, the
expressway.
pedestrian bridge will be separated from the existing vehicular bridge.
Right, but I'm saying right now, do you know if there's going to be some sort of walkway where they can get across safely?
No, we don't have any, because there's not an existing walkway there, people are simply walking in the vehicular space, so therefore we don't have a pedestrian detour included. Yeah, there will be signs up that the pedestrian route is closed, but obviously that's not stopping folks right now.
Okay, thank you.
And again, just so the board, we kind of discussed this at the budget workshop, but out of the whole project, a big chunk of it was covered by the SEMCOG grant, which was $850,000. And then the balance of the $450 is roughly from the ARPA funds, so there's no payment out of general fund or taxpayers, so we're in good shape.
Thank you so much for doing it. That's sorely needed.
Yeah.
We've been
It's a good gap
for
to be
years.
filled. Many years in the making, that's
Yeah,
true.
Yeah. If there's no I'll make the motion to approve for engineering services of $227,090
Support.
to Spalding the Decker to be paid out of our ARPA funds, supported by Dennis Stevenson. Any questions on the motion? Otherwise, roll call.
Praviti?
Yes.
Brown? No. Nicely?
Yes.
Chaplin?
Yes.
Mylum?
Yes.
Reinhold?
Yes.
Stevenson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passed 6-1. Thank you. Next is approve the recommendation of CDBG committee allocation of CDBG funds. And I guess Dana said John's going to.
I guess I'm going to do it.
John won the arm wrestle, apparently.
I didn't, it was close,
He lost.
but,
Obviously.
every year, the county, sends down the community development block grant funds to the participating municipalities, and our share this year came just when it was expected and in the exact same amount as the previous year. So the CDBG committee, consisting of Clerk Brown, Trustee Stevenson, and myself, and our planning and zoning director, Dana Berschbeck, met to examine the allocations. And since we had the same amount as last year and the same applicants as last year, it made deciding on the allocations fairly simple. If everything being equal, we were able to divide it up in the same amounts. The memo, and I will read this quickly. On January 29th, the CDBG committee held a follow-up meeting to discuss the information provided during the public hearing that was held on January 15th. Each organization that took the time to attend the public hearing provided the committee, the township board, and the audience with the opportunity to learn more about the services that were particular to their organization. Not only did this benefit the organization's efforts in spreading awareness, but it also opened the doors for volunteer opportunities from anyone attending or watching the meeting. The committee felt that attendance at the public hearing was an important part of the decision-making. With that, there is a schedule attached in the board packet that lays out the allocations, which were all very similar to last year. There was one change in that the McRest organization did not send a representative, and we felt that that was, that coming in person was significant to have somebody take the time to show up. So their allocation was slightly diminished, and that was spread out among the other organizations that participated and sent a participant to the meeting to make their case for why they deserve the funds. With that, this is what we call, the CDBG considers public service funding. And all of these providers are nonprofit services that have been vetted through Macomb County's RFP process. So they are all eligible for the money. The allocations for 2025 are as follows: for Care House, $1,280; for Interfaith Volunteers, $850. The Chore Program through Macomb County holds back $3,000. McRest, $750. Samaritan House, $6,550. Turning Point, $950. Maggie's Wigs for Kids, $10,050, for a total of $14,430 of recommended allocations. Did I?
Did you?
1,000.
You said 10,000.
1,050. 10,050. Oh, they'd love that. I wish we could give them 10,050. That is the recommendation of the committee.
I make a motion that we accept the recommendation for the CDBG committee allocation of funding for the 2025 program year.
I'll support.
Okay, that's a motion by Brown, seconded by Mylum. If no questions, roll call.
Brown, yes. Mylum?
Yes.
Praviti?
Yes.
Chaplin?
Yes.
Nicely?
Yes.
Stevenson?
Yes.
Reinhold?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, too. Next is 10.2, the Single Waste Hauler Committee update. Maybe did you want to give your part first? Want me to do mine? Okay. I guess I could do it at the. We have priority waste here, but I put together this slide to give the board kind of the history of the single waste hauler. Again, we followed suit in the past, the 3 full-time were the single waste hauler committee. You can go to that. The history was in 2008, the single waste hauler ordinance was passed. The reason for this was to reduce numerous trucks in our community, lock in lower prices, and have accountability with one company. The note on this is that apartments, mobile homes, and most condominiums were not included because they have their own waste hauler contracts. In the summer of '24, most have signed contracts with priority due to GFL leaving the area. From 2008 to 2022, we have changed from Ally to Republic to Rizzo, and then Rizzo changed their name to GFL, which was the longest contract that the township had in this duration. In '22, Priority Waste received our 3-year contract with an option to renew for 3 years. This transition was not optimal because GFL did not transfer any homeowner data, which caused all 10,000 homes to register all over for single waste hauler services, so we had lines going out of this building every which way. Also, it was noted that over the years that GFL, not all homes received the bills, so to my surprise, I got yelled at the counter because I had a lot of residents who were getting free garbage for numerous years. They didn't know they had to sign up for garbage. So Priority Waste, the reason why they were chosen in '22 by the board was they offered a 3% senior discount, 3% veteran discount, 1 month free with the full payment of the year, and most importantly, they offer an a la carte service. What that means is you don't have to buy yard waste, garbage, and recycling, which is very rare, at least in Macomb County. What is a la carte? Oh, I just explained. Washington Township is the only community in Macomb County that offers residents the purchase of 1 service or 2 service or all 3. I could go to the next. Sorry. These are the bids we received back in '22. We received 3 bids, which now GFL is no longer in the field. This, again, was just to show, this was what the options they offered with the 3-year extension. Sorry, next slide. In the summer of 2024, Washington Township had 10,000 single homes with priority service. In the summer of '24, Priority Waste acquired all apartment, mobile homes, and condominium contracts in Washington Township, along with most commercial. Present day, since 2008, the executive committee has acted as a single waste hauler committee. The committee has reviewed, the committee has reviewed the contract and ordinances with Attorney Bob Siebert, and we've met with Priority Waste last week as well to resolve some billing concerns, which was the cause of that. Some of the complaint stats the board's been asking me on. So since mailing the winter tax bill on December 1, there were 2,700 homes out of 10,000 homes that were delinquent and payment of their service with priority. Per the ordinance, it shall go on the tax roll and once collected be paid out to priority, which is around March 1st. Note, since 2016 to 23, the amount of delinquents have risen yearly from 600 to over 2,000. Of the 2,700, I've had roughly 228 calls to my office, and they are logged in a Google Sheet I created with my office, along with Priority Waste, for their to update, to maintain complaints and concerns. Of the 228, only 7 to date are a refund. The remaining 221 calls range from snowbird services that we offer, exemptions for business owners that we offer, and of course, billing disputes, which again, the big, why 200 disputes, sorry. So Priority mails out their annual bills in September of each year. The residents pay their bills in September through October for the upcoming year. So when residents received their winter bill on December 1st, they were confused between the current bill with, upon receiving their bill, the residents see delinquent waste hauler bill from the past year, but the resident paid for the upcoming year, hence the confusion for most of the issues. Again, out of the list, 7 households to date are getting a refund of the overpayment. So the committee has met with the Priority Waste. I'll let Mike and Audrey talk as well. The Priority Waste did meet with the executive committee. They presented billing areas that they are working on and corrected. I'll be calling them up now. As well as they are going to offer new additional payment options and reminders. Key points, the billings will now show past due amounts. New form of payments will be available, including texting features, improved calling centers from the Clinton Township that they work out of, and most importantly, giving past due accounts to Treasury, office by September 30th of each year to review. This will give Treasury more time to review the accounts that they are put on the tax rolls for accuracy. Other community data, all other townships nearby do not offer a la carte services. Chesterfield did go out to bid. They only received one bid, which was priority. Shelby went out last week. They received 2 bids with priority as the low bid. Washington Township still continues to have the lowest rate in the county by giving up, again, this is my personal opinion, but by giving up this 3-year exemption, we gamble losing the locked-in low price that we are guaranteed for 3 years. Again, we're a unique community that offers a la carte services. We have larger parcels with less homes, so I don't know, I'm not sure of what kind of pricing we would get if we carry out the exemption, the extension. Tonight, we are asking the board to either extend the 3-year locked-in option with receiving this delinquent list by September 30th, or we give up the 3-year extension and vote to go off to bid with limited vendors out there. Again, our contract says they have to have a 5-year minimum to experience to handle our community, and that also offers a la carte and keep low price with all the discounts. So, since meeting with Priority Waste, they are here tonight to explain the steps they are taking if awarded to renew the 3-year contract extension. Upon talking with them Monday evening, yesterday, they have reached out that they obviously will honor the 3-year extension. They've also offered to up it to make it a 5-year extension if the board so chooses. I will call upon them to present after this presentation if the board can ask any questions as well.
Discussion,
These
please.
are the 3 years is listed on the top here. The other 2 is new information that we just got. The interesting note here is that in 2020, the state will require all communities of our size and larger to be forced to be put on the recycling program, hence the price jump in 2028. Is that the last slide? So that's my presentation part. You had your...
I do, whenever she's so.
Yeah, I have discussion as well. Thank you for your PowerPoint, Supervisor Praviti. Last board meeting, the board voted to have Mike Nicely, the treasurer, Supervisor Praviti, and me, the clerk, to serve on the single waste hauler committee, which we did. We spent quite a bit of time drafting some bullet points, which are what are in the board packet. This is in the board packet, along with, that's not in the board packet, and this diagram that Mike nicely drew up, which shows, it's kind of detailed, but he's a treasurer, he's an accountant, so I appreciate the detail on this, showing the changes that needed to be made so that our residents would no longer have incorrect delinquent tax bills, okay? Mike nicely devised this. We worked on a lot of other bullet points. We met with Priority 3 representatives last Wednesday. We had a very good meeting. We explained to them our conditions for them extending their contract. And again, we do not have any problem with their service. It's been very good. Our problems were with the customer service and the billing problems that have gone on for 3 years. We know when they took over from Priority, there were some growing pains, and we understand that. That happens. I know they grew very quickly, but the numbers of taxpayers that have been on the delinquent tax rolls, in 2022, they were 1,700, then it went to 2,100, and then 2,700 this year. So, and might I add, the ordinance that we have right now, which says that we must put delinquent, waste bills on the delinquent waste bills on the tax rolls, is in an ordinance that was here since 2008, and yet Rizzo and GFL did not have these billing issues. This is something that is new with Priority, and we've been patient with them, correcting these problems, but now we came to a point where their contract is up September 30th, and we drafted these conditions. They're talking about billing and customer service and that kind of thing, and also asking for a representative to be here in August to field any questions that constituents may have. And we also asked for, if they did not submit the scrubbed list to Treasurer Nicely by September 30th, October 30th, that nothing would be rolled on the tax bills, because we've had many residents who have been incorrectly put on the delinquent tax rolls, and they had prepaid. So these were things that we had asked for, and we were told by. And like I said, the meeting we had with Priority was very constructive, and they showed us examples of the billing, the invoices that they had created. They gave us statistics on how they improved their customer service, and we were very happy with that. But we also asked them to go back to their management and take these bullet points that we had discussed. They told us that they would let us know by Friday. This was a Wednesday meeting. By Friday or Monday, the latest. We heard nothing. This is a multi-million-dollar contract. And I would think that if you are intent on having your contract extended, that you would at least reply. We did get a reply from Mr. Vinay, who's here today, and he can speak. And when he did reply, we appreciate it. The only thing that was addressed was he wants to continue, Priority wants to continue here's the email, servicing our constituents in the excellent fashion that they have, and we're looking forward to extending your contract 5 years. No mention of the bullet points that we outlined. So they showed us examples of what they're doing to improve billing and customer service. However, without any penalties or recourse or us saying that if you don't give the delinquent tax bill, the scrub list to Mr. Nicely in a timely manner, we are not going to roll the waste bills on the delinquent waste bills on the tax bills. We're not going to be your bill collector anymore. They didn't agree to that either. They agreed to no penalties. So what I'm saying is, and I also asked for, by the way, dump tickets. What are dump tickets? Dump tickets are tickets that are given when a waste hauler takes a truckload of recycling to the recycling center. It could be Sacra, which is in Troy, or it could be the GFL Recycling Center in Pontiac. And their trucks are weighed by ton, and then they are charged a fee to dump their recycling in that yard. It costs the waste hauler 5 times as much money to dump a ton of recycling in a recycling center than it does in a landfill. Landfills are much cheaper. So I asked for the dump tickets just to make sure that our recycling trucks are going there. Mr. Vinay said they could not produce them because their dump tickets, sometimes they go to a couple different communities in one day, and they couldn't separate it out. And I'm sure that we could probably extrapolate in some way to see what percentage of that was from Washington Township. But they said they could not give us any dump tickets at all. And also there are grants available for recycling, and the proof that the state of Michigan needs for that are dump tickets. And I asked for that, and they can't provide that either. So on good faith, they want us to extend not for 3 years, but for 5. And the prices and trust me, I do not want to raise rates on anybody. Every dollar is precious. Okay, I raised 4 kids on a budget. Trust me, I'm very thrifty, so I do not want to raise rates for residents at all. We are just asking that if they want to extend their contract, they have to agree to these billing and customer service issues that we have set forth, and they've agreed to none. So I do not see how we can extend this contract when they are not agreeing to this. My question is, if they have corrected their billing issues and they have corrected their customer service and all of that is better, fantastic, I really hope so. Then if we give them a penalty of not putting delinquencies on the tax bills, which means they would lose money, then it would not be an issue for them, would it? But we can't just keep going on faith. This has been 3 years. We want to make sure that our residents have recourse. We are here to represent the residents. And I cannot just do it on good faith. Thank you.
Yeah. So I did work today on getting some presentations done. I'm sorry this wasn't in the board package. I did not have time to get this submitted in time. Some of them you can see in the board package because it's already there, but they're kind of small, so I thought I'd just go over it in a little more detail for everybody. So as Ms. Brown, it's Clerk Brown had mentioned, we have a problem. We have a cold. We're trying to figure out what the solution is, and we know what the symptoms are. So this is what we're going to try to do to accomplish this based upon our meeting. And for everybody that's out here and for the board members, none of these discussions took place outside the meeting that we had with Mr. Vinay and Felicia and Mike French. Yeah.
Michael.
So all the information that you're going to see is exactly what we covered. So nothing was being hidden from anybody. The first one that you're going to see on there is the circle. Basically, what's happening at this point is everything is being crowded into an October 31st deadline. The problem with that is that we have Thanksgiving, we have to approve this by the board, and then we got to get this out to the printer by December 1st. So there's issues on the township side, and then there's issues on, she wants one right here. I got a copy here if you want one.
So when you
Yeah.
say there's issues on the township side, this is the first time I'm hearing that. Can you
Yeah.
expand on that?
There's no hard dates for anybody here. So all we have on there is 3 months back. And we don't have any specific hard dates of when things got to get done. So when you see the next slide that I'll go up there in a second, don't do it yet, Matt. When you see the next slide up there, you'll see that we're going to put specific hard dates in there where they got to get submissions to us on these certain dates or this will happen. So what you're seeing over there for this year, on October 14th, we sent priority the request for the delinquent list. We got a reply back on the 18th. We first received the delinquent list on the 7th, then we received the final delinquent list on the 18th. Now, the problem that we had with that was a couple days later was Thanksgiving, and then a day or two later after that, we had to get these to the printer and get them out. We did not have time to do that. The billing is the main issue. We've got that solved, and I think you'll see on the next couple pages that it'll work out just well.
So wait, I don't understand. I'm so sorry. So are you saying that your area didn't have enough time to prepare because of the holiday and stuff? Is that what you're saying we did wrong? Like what you said, some part on the township?
Yeah, there's not enough time on the township's end to review the delinquent list when it's given to us, because everything's done by October 31st.
So you're saying if you were given it a different date,
Yeah,
you
that's
could
what
make
you're
it
gonna-
work?
That's what we're going to see
Okay,
next.
I'm so sorry to bother you.
No,
I
that's
just want to
okay.
make sure. I just don't understand.
So what you see here, if you could turn it to the next slide there, Matt, thank you very much. This is the draft proposal that we want to try to initiate. So you see on the far left-hand side, you got 2024, on the far right-hand side, you got 2025. We want to change the collection period that's currently under right now from July, we're going to go from July 1st through the end of August this year. And nothing is going to be added onto the winter tax bill if we don't, nothing's going to be added on the winter tax bill after October 30th. So what's happening now is we're receiving it October 30th, and there's just not time to clean the list up. Then for the month of September, another issue that is happening is residents are paying their bills, but they're not getting credited toward the priority waste bill. So we're going to let them get through through September 30th and allow them for priority waste to make any catch-up bills that's been past the August 30th date. So it gives them 30 days to try to make those collections so it doesn't go on to the tax roll. Then by October 15th, the township should review the scrub list that's going to be provided by priority waste on September the 30th. This will give us 10, 15 days or so, depending on where it falls, to see if everything is correct. We will then notify back to priority waste if there's an issue or if there's anything that's inconsistent we need to get corrected. And at that point then, we'll then have until October 30th to get that, October 31st to get that to us. If they don't get that back to us, then we will not place this onto the winter tax roll. So while there's been a request for penalties to be applied on there, this is the biggest one that you can get. Because if we're not going to be able to collect it, then they're not going to be able to survive. That will give us enough time to get us up to the first board meeting in November. That is a floating date because it depends on when the holiday is. So that's, I just put the first board meeting on there. And it gives us time to prep the bills and get them ready to go with the holiday coming up, and then December 1st, they're going out into the mail. So if you recall from the first slide, everything was like the roundabout collision. Everything was just occurring at the same time.
Yeah.
Here we want to be able to spread it out and have hard specific dates that everybody's going to follow by to get these in correctly, and that's going to correct the billing issues that we've had going forward. That's the billing issues that we're going to correct that's been occurring on right now. If you want to go to the next area over here, this is just a breakdown of what Supervisor Praviti and what Clerk Brown had gone over. Why we want to keep this and not rebid this out. We have the a la carte options. So residents can choose their needs based upon the recycling and compost pickup. And it's rare for any other municipalities to have this. And I think Mr. Vinay from Priority Waste can attribute to that. We also have a senior and veterans discounts, which helps save these groups of money, a lot of money. They can do up to 6%. So you can combine both of them together and combine those together. We also have the ability to suspend service and pickups for vacations or snowbirds. So it allows the residents to not paying for the services when they're not being used. Again, we're the only ones that have that. And the cost comparison, and we'll go on this in a little more detail. Right now, Washington residents, for the average between October 22 through October 25, are paying $30.13 per quarter. This is significantly lower than the Chesterfield, which pays $80 to $68 per quarter, and the Harrison Township, which is $54 per quarter. So again, it reinforces the strength of the contract that we have. As Clerk Brown said, we don't have any issues with the service or the pickup. I think the statistics will show when Mr. Vinay comes up, we're at 99.9% collection rate on that, so the service quality has been very good on that. If we change, you got a lot of I was involved in the last transition. It was very disruptive for the residents, and rebuilding it could lead to just a repeat of the same situation and creating unnecessary stress and logistic issues for everybody. The community continues to receive the stable services that we have. It avoids the complications of transitioning over to a new provider, and we got the billing issues fixed, which we'll go over in a little bit. Again, addressing these, we find the existing billing issues. Washington Township can be the leader in trying to make sure that if they have any questions, we can help anybody, the other municipalities out with anything that they may have with their issues that they, with the issues that they have with the priority two. If you want to go to the next one, one of the reasons why, again, it's so important, go up one more back. Yeah, we want slide D. No, that's not it. Okay, so I'll just go over this. It's not in there.
I don't have the D.
Okay, I'm sorry. Nope, some people didn't get a D. Could you? So I'll make sure it gets out. But what I put in there was cost of eggs, bread, my favorite Reese peanut butter cups, first-class stamps, labor. So I try to compare what the costs are right now in 2022 compared to January 2025. Right now, the highest right now is the eggs, which everybody knows is extremely high. We're at 38.3% higher than we were in 2022. I just saw an article, a Waffle House, if you order eggs, is going to charge you an additional 50 cents per egg that you order on that. The point I wanted to make on this, and I'm sorry it's not available on there, is that the average inflation rate between September 22 through January 2025 was 5.5%. Washington Township saw minimal increases compared to the inflation rate. Priority Waste pays for all federal, state, county, and municipality sales or other taxes or permits. Washington Townships are experiencing a 99.9% service pickup. Being involved in the last transition 3 years ago caused much too confusion for the residents. Addressing the proposal should solve most of the problems that have occurred. Washington Township residents who qualify can combine their senior and veterans discounts for up to 6%. And by the way, if you look at the number of the inflation rate, those who qualify for that 6% are actually getting 1.5% back on their money because they're getting 6% there, but the inflation is only 1.5%. And you also, as Mr. Supervisor Previti said, if you elect to make annual payments, you get one for free. We're probably the only ones that do that. Continuing on down, I'm sorry it's not up there again, but if you take a look on the, yeah, thank you, Michelle. So if you take a look what's up on the screen or what you have right now over there, these are the projected costs right now through 2028. And you can see it's 93 cents for the year, it's quarter $96, or excuse me, 96 cents and 99 cents. It's an average of a 3% increase. The last semester, the last time 2022 to 2025 was 2.99%. So we're going to be in the same range that we are right now on that. So my conclusion is while we're bidding may attract new vendors, the current arrangement greatly benefits our residents through flexibility, affordability, service quality, and stability. Transitions to the new vendor could jeopardize these benefits, disrupt the service that we have that we're currently enjoying, and we want to maintain a partnership with Priority Waste and secure as a leader in the municipality waste arena.
Mr. Treasurer Nicely, who wrote this? Did you write this?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I am a little befuddled here because this is the first I'm seeing it or hearing of it, and I'm a member of the Single Waste Hauler Committee. This morning, Supervisor Previti emailed this PowerPoint to everyone and had my name on it and Mike Nicely's, and yet we had never seen it. Some of the content we agreed to, but some of it we didn't.
Audrey, I already said to you, I'm not going to let you do this publicly like this. If
You know what?
If you read Sam's comment
read
there,
it.
he wrote right there, this is my assessment as supervisor.
Yes.
He wrote your name as part of the committee. Don't
Correct.
twist it.
Correct.
We're not going to be that bored.
He
We can do better.
He said it's my assessment.
My assessment.
But I'm part of the Solid Waste Committee.
Exactly.
And I think, and what we
And just
agreed-
like this is Mike's thing, and when
Right,
it was
and
your
what
turn to talk, we let you talk.
Are you on the Solid Waste Committee, Trustee Mylan?
Okay, guys, ladies.
I am on the board, and what I'm
Right.
saying, Audrey, is we've all had instances where people have stepped out of line, I believe, and no one's calling anybody out. No one's calling you out.
I'm not calling anyone out. I'm questioning
Audrey.
why we agreed to Treasurer Nicey's chart and the bullet points. That's what we agreed on at our meeting with Priority last week, and they were to let us know what they thought. We heard nothing, then all of a sudden, this pops up, and then Mike
He
wrote
was
this
giving his
today.
presentation, and you interrupted him.
I
How
let
is
him
that
finish.
right?
I let him finish.
No, you didn't. He wasn't done. He's not even on his last page yet.
We're not going to get anywhere here.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, okay, so let's continue. So as I said earlier, when I handed these out, I did not get a chance to get these to the board at all because I worked on them all day. So I went through the bullet points individually from our meeting that we had last week, cleaned them up, and just put these up into a little bit for everybody to understand. So everything that you saw here, you're going to see here, was all presented in the bullet points that we met with Priority last week. So if you want to go up to the first one over there, the delinquent, the first one over there that we brought up for the questions for Priority Waste was delinquent parcels will be added to the winter tax from July 1st of the previous year through August 30th. That was in the previous slide that you saw where the colors were blocked out, showing where they're going to collect from July 1st through August 30th. The reason why we want to be able to do this is because it's one step closer to help the issues that we're having today. So the tax roll collection is going to be for the December 1st, 2025 is July 1st of last year through August 30th of this year. If you recall, when I said that earlier, this now stops that point where we're not going to put anything on there after August 30th. Point number 2, we went over when the meeting was the first scrub delinquent list must be submitted to the township no later than September 30th of the current year so the payments can be received directly to Priority Waste ending August 30th, including but not limited to the information that we're looking for. As I said earlier, this allows Priority Waste to collect the 30-day window to make sure that if anybody put their payment in there August 15th, it's not going to be on the winter tax roll over there. So it gives them an additional 30 days where that was not available before. Number 3 is unpaid Priority waste charges will not be placed on the winter tax bill if it's past due or received by priority waste of August 30th of the current year. So why we want to do this is because it allows priority to begin submitting the delinquent parcels to the township, and we can check them for any inaccuracies. So back to that original slide that you saw, the month of October, we have 30 days to look that over. October 15th, we can notify priority if it's a yay or nay. If it's a nay, then they go back to August 31st, where they have to try to clean it up for us and get it back to us. So there are hard, specific dates in there to everything to get done. Their biggest penalty, and it doesn't affect the township, is not having this on the tax roll. A business cannot survive having $1 million sitting out there, not on the tax roll, and they're not going to have individual lawsuits against 3,000 people to do it. That's why they rely on the townships to do that. So we got a 60-day window in August, we got a 30-day window in September, and we got a 30-day window in October to get this cleaned up, whereas before we did not. On item number 4, I think you went too far there.
I'm sorry, Mike, I don't have it, I apologize.
That's okay.
It must have been every other page.
Again, all these points were discussed when we were in the meeting. They're just cleaned up a little bit. If priority waste fails to submit the disputed September 30th list to the township, that's not, oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yep. If priority waste fails to submit the September disputed list to us by October 31st, nothing will be rolled to taxes. We've already discussed that. Should priority waste not make the October 31st deadline, priority waste can submit the delinquent file that did not previously met the deadline, and we will place them onto the summer taxes. It does not affect us. It's their cash flow. It's what they wanted to do. It doesn't affect us at all. So if they can't make this the August 31st date, then we'll throw it onto there. It has no effect on the township at all. All we're doing is we're collecting it and we're turning it over to priority waste. So this going down here, you see the date of April 30th in there. This follows the exact same schedule as if they're going to make the October 31st date. So April 30th, they provide the first scrub list to the township. By May 15th, they report back to priority if there's any corrections, deletions, or whatever we need to do. If it's not corrected, priority waste has until May 31st to correct it. June, the scrub list is submitted to the board for approval, just like we would do in November. And then the taxes go out July 1st, just like we would do on the December 1st. So the only thing that they're doing is if they can't make it, it's their money that's going to cost them to not get it done on earlier than later. Number 5, including but not limited to priority waste changes its billing cycle and or billing or accounting processes are changed, the township has a right to update the ordinance. Well, we want to make sure that if there's any changes in that, we can keep the ordinance up instead of having an older ordinance like we did before. Number 6, including but not limited to if priority waste changes their billing cycle and or accounting processes, they shall notify the township and all residents within 90 days before making the change. Again, why we want to do this is make sure that it's not going to pop up 2 weeks and say, oh, now there's a change. You're going to have to make corrections. So they're going to have to notice 90 days prior to making any of the changes on there. See, that was number...
I think we're on 7 now.
We're on number 7? Okay, yeah, number 7. One of the hangups that we had was priority did not have the auto renewal automatically done. Each resident had to call in and say, okay, please renew my contract, or please renew my auto pay. That was contentious because everybody thinks that if it's on auto pay, it's on auto pay. So priority waste to provide a continuous auto payment without residents needing to notify priority waste each year. And as I explained in the why section, currently residents need to notify priority waste every year if they want to continue on the auto payment plan. This now allows for continuous auto payment without the residents calling in. The residents still must maintain the auto payment information on their account and notify priority waste if there's going to be any changes or anything on that. That's their responsibility to do. We can't do that for the security reasons of the bank information. That's to be done directly through priority. On number 8, one of the other issues we had was that I did not know that my account was past due. So priority shall provide a prominent notice on all residents' billing cycles and statements sent to residents by mail that must include that Priority will assess a late fee if not paid by August 30th. Priority will improve the resident statements by providing past due statements, listing them 30, 60, or 90 days out. Throughout the contract, a draft of resident statements and correspondence will be presented to the township for review upon the township supervisor. Again, this is going to help with the billing issues with the residents to see whether it's going to be 30, 60, or 90 days due. And then they're going to know if it's not on there and paid in full by August 30th, it will be assessed a fee and go to their tax roll. On number 9, Priority Waste will provide the quarterly reports, not dump tickets, on the MSW cycle, recycle, and waste yard materials collected from Washington Township. As Clerk Brown says, this record is given off when waste deposit is dropped off at landfills, recycling center, or disposal sites. And it typically includes details like the location, type of waste, weight, and who delivered it. The reason why they cannot do the recycling portion of it is we are an a la carte community. So we cannot, they cannot divide when their trucks come through and they pick up 50 here in Washington Township and they go to the next community that has full recycling and they do 75 there, and the next community that may have 25. The recycling is done correctly. They combine the recycling truck with Washington's and the other communities, so there's no way you can separate who or what percentage is being done by Washington or the other communities because of that. But they all have to be state compliant, and I'm sure that they're following the state law the best they can, otherwise they're the ones that are going to get fined on that. One of the ones that we really wanted to try to do was number 10, and they agreed on this one. In August, a representative from Priority Waste will be on site to help the residents. The determined date was going to be August 15th, since that's in the middle of the month. It's before school starts and before all the sports activity starts within the schools too. So it gives everybody an opportunity to come in and talk to the residents one-on-one. Someone will be here with their computer, answer any questions that they have. It gets them before the August 30th date, so everybody's aware of what's going to take place. And it'll allow the partnership to continue with the Washington Township residents. Obviously, this is going to change if there's any new owners. We all know that. But, that's all that. And it has to be obviously approved by the board and obviously Mr. Siebert here. The next screen that you see up there is the enhanced statements. This is a beta version, so it's not completely 100% done on it. The effective date, we think, is going to be sometime in April. We're not sure on that either, but we think that's when it's going to occur. If you take a look at it, it has a lot more detailed information on it than the previous statements did. It now has your 30, 60, 90 days on the bottom over there. It tells you if you're on auto pay in the red section and it's been paid already, even though that number is going to appear on there, if it says paid on there, you're all set. So that's what they're going to try to help us out with. The bottom section over there, if you can scroll down a little bit, the 5% fee will be applied if not paid by August 30th. That's by Priority Waste. In the far left-hand corner, one of the concerns that Priority had is they had 824 non-contactable residents, meaning they don't have phone numbers or any way to contact the residents. So what we're going to try to do is they're going to put a QR code on the bottom left-hand side over there. You can put their availability for their email and their address. So when the statement is set back with the check, they can update their records. And I'm sure I think Mr. Vinay is going to go over how this is going to work on that. This is going to solve the problem. Everybody wants to try to get different issues done. We've talked it through with Priority Waste when we were here. The three of us met with them. We took the bullet points off that we agreed that we're not going to be on there. That's why they're not on there at all. But this is going to solve the problem, and it'll go forward with the partnership with Priority and with Mr. Vinay. It's all worked out. And with that, I just want to make the motion to accept.
Wait,
go ahead.
Wait, one question.
Yeah.
Before we go to that, can I ask how this came about and how Clerk Brown doesn't know how this all came about? That's confusing to me. So I was saying to Clerk Brown, I just wanted him to finish so I could hear what he had to say.
And I apologize, Michelle, or Trustee Mylan, excuse me. I did not mean to interrupt him. I had not seen this, so I was following along with the screen, and I wasn't looking at the paper. So if I interrupted you, I apologize. No, I have not seen this till right now, and I am part of the Solid Waste Committee. So this is new. They just created this, and it's a bigger version of the bullet points that we had agreed upon with Mr. Vinay and Mr. French and Felicia Stamper that we had talked about on Wednesday. And we were waiting for confirmation from them and heard nothing until, as I said, the email from Mr. Vinay Monday evening saying that he was looking forward to serving us again, and he wanted to extend our contract for 5 years, and there was no mention of any of these bullet points. So I did not know. Mr. Treasurer Nicely is saying that they are agreeing to this. I've heard nothing about it. And we were told that Priority would come here and lay out their plan and explain what they're going to do to us. And I didn't know Mr. Nicely would have to advocate for you, but I love his plan. We agreed to it. We want to know what you have to say about it. So if I interrupted Treasurer Nicely, I apologize.
That's not a problem. Go ahead, Dan.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone of the board and members of the public. My name is Dan Vinay, Vice President of Municipal Sales with Priority. Nice to see you again. I was here back in 2022 when we started on this venture together. So the bullet points that we discussed on Wednesday, there were a number of additions, amendments, edits, and deletions potentially. At that time, I committed to getting it to St. Pravetti by Monday at the latest. My wife had a procedure on Friday. Knowing I was going to be out of the office, I might have needed a couple of days, in which I did get this back to Mr. Pravetti by Monday. So he had the information with our amendments, which Mike's report had at the top, the priority amendments. And we're excited about agreeing to those terms. There were only subtle changes, wording, phrases, different things that we would want it included. Make sure that it was defined properly because it was his document that we put together. Path forward with us, as we talked about in the meeting, being more accountable on our billing cycle. We realized through the active feedback that we received from the board members, the members of the committee, the members of the public, we didn't make it easy, and that's on us. We didn't make it easy, and we agree that there's definitely some improvements that needed to be made. Some of it was a lack of ability in our technology and the billing software that we used. We identified that in the fourth quarter or so of this year, and we had already engaged with a company on updating it, which you saw the invoice enhancements, adding the 30, 60, and 90 days. That was not a capability that we had before. We were putting a Band-Aid on an open wound by sending a statement in the last quarter to try and help the residents, but that was too late because we'd already submitted the delinquents. And then we did it again in December for the January to catch some of the fourth quarter or first quarter of the contract year, fourth quarter of the calendar year. So now we're looking at that invoice possibly going live in April, as Mr. Nisley had mentioned. That will help us and help the residents know if in case they made a mistake in missing their bill, or also hold us accountable if we made a mistake and didn't record the payment. Because when you're talking about 10,000 residents or 10,000 households, somebody could remit a payment without having the invoice number or the account number, and we may not know where that's applied. And as Mr. Nisley said as well, we only have about 825 contact information for residents in the township. So again, 10,000, we have 825. So if even we wanted to make proactive steps to engage and involve the resident in a communication that we're missing something, we don't have that data. And that was part of what Mr. Pravetti had said before in the transition from GFL to us. They didn't share any of that information. Even if it wasn't proprietary, they were not willing to hand it over. So when we were signing people up, some of the information they were willing to provide us, they weren't willing to provide us, the residents I'm talking about. So this will help by giving a voluntary action on the resident side to give us their cell phone number, a mobile number, house number, or email. Because with this new billing software, we're kind of taking an approach from DTE that has been very successful in texting and the ability to pay with just clicking the text message link that will lead you to a page that will allow you to make a payment without having to log in, and have your account information and your invoice, because it will be triggered to the cell phone number. And that will just make things, as they call it, an easy button for a resident to push, click, and pay. Again, we didn't have that capability before. We're looking forward to that implementation. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, because there's still some things that we want to make sure are ironed out. But as we talked about, April being a deadline for or a goal for the invoice to be updated, we're looking at, at least middle of the summer with the invoice in July to have this capability. So a number of things that we're trying to improve on, acknowledging that there was definitely fault on our side, that we needed to improve, that we needed to be more accountable and more transparent and make it easier for residents. Because if you make it tough, or you don't help them help you, it's got to be a handshake deal that you understand that it's got to be on the residents to make it easier for the resident. Embrace the technology that's available to us today. Let me just pull this apart. So in the meeting on Wednesday, we did talk about some of the service that we've been providing to Washington Township. The number that Mr. Nisley had mentioned, I think Sam as well, is that we're at 99.97 collection rate in the township, which means that of all of the residents, we're missing 0.03 missed stops. And that's the gold standard if you're talking Six Sigma numbers. In our stat ranking, Washington Township is one of our best, if not our best communities as far as service on the road. So we know that there's not a problem there. We know that that is going as smoothly as it possibly could be. Knowing that there's always like myself, I put stuff out at 7 a.m., but if I have two young ones at home, I know my life is going to get a little more chaotic. Maybe I forget one day. Those things happen, and we're going to make mistakes on the hauler side where we just, the can or the bag was blended in with the snow. So we know that those things happen, but at a 99.97% collection rate, it's astronomically well. But the billing side we identified needed to be improved. So these steps of re-engineering our invoice system through our internal development team, Michael French, as mentioned, and Felicia are leading that charge. And that was, again, developed. They were already working on some things internally on operations. The billing discussion that we had in November when this first came up, and I came here and I met with the three of you as well as a couple other staff, that got Michael French and Felicia Stamper involved because they handle all of our program management and development information. So as soon as I came back with the feedback I had received after that December meeting, they re-engaged, and then we circled back here in January to wrap all the details up. That's all that I personally have. I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
I personally want to thank you, because I know you also do our paper shredding, hazardous materials, and electronics, and that's well appreciated. And I want to thank you also for offering that 2-year extension to the 3 we have now. And I look at it, basically, we're $30 and change now, but at the end in 2030, we're going to be less than a $6 increase at that point. That's fantastic. And I thank you for that offer.
You're welcome. And I'll talk to the recycling number, because I think it was Sam that had mentioned it during his talk. So we're currently at $15 per quarter for recycling in an opt-in program, optional to the residents. And we do not increase that throughout the first initial 3 and the optional 3 that are in the contract currently. In 2028, we do expect that the state will hand down some legislation through Part 115 that encourages municipalities that have optional or no programs for recycling to kick in. And what we anticipate to occur is, as these communities that do not have, unlike Washington Township, that don't have recycling whatsoever, there's going to be a flood of material that goes to these material recovery facilities, as the clerk had mentioned, Sacra and Troy and the Pontiac Murph. And you're going to see a flood of material that they were not previously receiving. The processing rate is probably going to increase because they're going to see more material. It's going to take more time, more staff, as well as
because of that influx, the demand for the material is going to go down because there's going to be more possibly than they would have seen before. So you're going to see an increase in the processing cost and a lower dollar amount that the material recovery will be able to sell that material for. So there's going to be a cost there. So in fairness, in trying to take into effect that we have not seen an increase, or the residents will not see an increase for 6 straight years, we took a look, and at a 70 cents per week cost, that's the increase that the residents see. It's 70 cents. If they continue to opt into the recycling, it costs them 70 cents a week to recycle their material. But we tried to keep it fair, tried to keep it under $1, taking into the effect the increase in cost. So it's $3 a month or $9 more per quarter, but breaking it down, it's 70 cents. It's less than a McDonald's dollar coffee. So trying to keep it to where, we all know, as Mr. Nisley had mentioned, eggs are going up, milk is going up. I'm feeling it at home with a little one drinking 6 to 8 ounces every feed. We're going through whole milk like crazy. So I know personally what that feels like, and we try to keep that into a consideration when we put that in there. The trash rate remains at the 3% increase that was in the initial 3 and the second 3 that were already written in. So we didn't change anything with that increase.
So I just have a question then. So all the items that were proposed in here are accepted?
Correct, yes.
Right? Okay, and are they immediate in effect, or are they delayed? The invoicing is not until next year change, but are these implemented immediately then?
Yeah, the terms in which Mr. Nisley laid out, yeah, those are the terms that we agreed to, yeah.
And that takes place immediately?
Yes.
Okay, no delay on that?
Well,
That was my
I did have a question.
As I said, we got to get Mr. Siebert involved in to make sure
Yeah.
everything's correct.
Well, that would have been my question for you.
But there's no delay on that other than our side? Okay.
on our side, we agree to those.
Okay.
Will this require a new contract, or can this be handled through an addendum to the existing contract?
Well, you've got your contract currently provides that the township, only the township has the option to renew the contract for 3 years. And if the board decides that you're going to renew it for the 3-year period, the contract that you have in place does not have this amount of detail in it for collection. So my recommendation, and I met only once with the committee, and it was not with representatives of Priority Waste. We just kind of brainstormed what your options were. And my recommendation was to the committee and is to the board that if the board is going to renew the contract, that we take the existing contract and we amend it. It'll be the first amendment to the existing agreement. And if you agree to, for instance, rather than extend it 3 years, you can extend it 5 years. That'll be one of the amendments, is to take it out 2 more years. But that we attach to it an exhibit, and that exhibit will lay out, and I'm going to have to sit down, if the board approves this, I'm going to have to sit down with Mike and the committee, and they're going to have to dummy down to me and explain to me. I've read it, I don't understand any of it. They're going to have to explain to me what it means, and I will then put it into layman's terms so that you can read that agreement and we'll know exactly what their deadline dates are, because there is a severe penalty to Priority if they don't meet this deadline date that apparently the parties have agreed to. Because if they can't get a delinquent bill on your taxes, they have no practical way to collect it. You're not going to go to small claims court I represent other communities 3 times the size of this community, and they've got several $1 million in delinquencies. And it's a big number. We're not talking, chump change. This is a big number. And if they can't get it on the tax bill, they got a serious problem. So we have all of the leverage. So that these details need to go into that amendment, and it's going to be approved, and we'll bring that contract back to this board, and you'll see it, and we'll sign it. And they will know that if they don't meet those deadline dates, it doesn't go on the tax bill.
So I'm confused. When we had GFL, did we have these issues? These billing issues?
I couldn't tell you. You'll have to.
So, did they have similar?
We had.
No, I understand the opposite problem with service, but did we have these kinds of deadlines and this kind of time to deal with the delinquencies and everything before?
No.
Or is this something new?
Those were not in any of the agreements. I think GFL probably started in about, 08 maybe?
Yes.
Okay, so give or take.
So did they provide all the information in time for us to do
No.
everything?
The contract was simple. Your ordinance provides that when it comes time to do your tax bill, they would certify to us a delinquency for every resident that had 3 months or more in delinquencies would be turned over to the township. The board would approve it at a meeting. They'd pretty much rubber stamp it. By that, I mean the treasurer's office would look at it. They'd say, yeah, these numbers are good. The board would approve it, and all of them would go on the tax bill. That would be it.
If that was that simple, why don't we do that now?
We did, we voted in November. But he's saying he doesn't, there's not enough time to do it in 2 weeks.
But it was before, but not now?
Well, each year, like when I was a trustee, there was 500 delinquents, then I went up to 600, went up to 800. Each year, the list has gotten bigger. Now we're up to 2,700.
It's because the list got so big is the issue?
A lot of people, they don't care. They put it on their taxes.
So it's because the list got so large now that it's the issue. It's being
And there's
carried.
really no hard specific date. So getting back to the prior carrier, it was still submitted, however, the list was so small, so the complaints were not that big. So now the list has gotten bigger, it's an opportunity for us to fix it.
Why do you think that happened? Why does the list get so big?
I think it's a combination of timing for the priority waste to get this into us, and the timing that we got to get it corrected, to get the taxes corrected to send out by December the 1st.
And again, they caught over 2,000 households that weren't paying garbage. So there were 2,000 households that never paid garbage. So they thought they got free garbage for X amount of years.
Okay,
So that's
but
probably jumped up dramatically.
But, I mean, as a homeowner, sometimes you get confused. Is it included in my taxes? Is it not included in my taxes? Am I paying in advance or am I paying in arrears? It is a little confusing when it comes to this for a lot of residents. And is there a way to clear that up with them?
This is what this is going to be.
I get.
You think what we're proposing will clear that up?
What do you think, Dan?
I agree. And as Mr. Pavetti said, and I mentioned earlier, we took this over and we did not have data handed over to us from the previous provider. So when our notice went out to residents on, hello, we're priority, we're your new service provider, please pay your first bill, sign up for the account if you'd like to, set up automatic payments on your online portal. We caught a significant number, 2,000 sounds right, that had never paid a bill and questioned us, is this correct? Because they see a bill that they've never identified before from a company that they have no idea who it is. And I know that Sam received a number of calls and we received a number of questions on why am I receiving it. So, and GFL had the information from Rizzo, I believe, before that. So it was the same information on multiple contract handovers.
So we're anticipating then the number of delinquencies will go down substantially.
That's the goal, because now everybody can see on their statements, as you can see up there, they got 30, 60, 90 days that they can look to see if they're past due. It gives them a prior, we're going to stop after August 30th, so it gives priority still to continue to collect up through September 30th. So there's an extra 30-day window, which is not available now. At the end of September, they will then turn over the list to us so we can look at the month of October, and then we can put it on to the November board meeting and submit it for the December 1st tax roll.
Sounds like the committee did an awesome job. Thank you.
From the list we have, so they mail out their bills, in September or end of August?
Yes, September, December, March, and June. Those are when the three.
So
the four
everyone
of those
paid their bill in September, then in December, they got their tax bill. They're like, I just paid my bill. But that's for the upcoming year. The tax was for the prior year, and that's
Right.
where the confusion started.
Can we end that confusion?
That's what his
Well,
proposal
this 30, 60, 90 will help clear it up.
You think? Okay.
Well, because right now they don't have that, so people think they're always current.
And then, as Supervisor said, that they were submitting it in September, but they submitting the delinquent list in October, even though it was cleared, it just didn't have time to circle
Right.
through. So that's why if we do August 30th, they can collect all the way through September. We have the month of October to make the corrections, and then it goes.
And that'll give adequate time for them to credit everybody that paid. Okay. And you've agreed to this?
Yes, absolutely.
You can do it? Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Audrey, are you comfortable with the dates that have been rolled out?
Treasurer Nicely's version is a more spread out version of the bullet points that we put in, that was in the board packet for you to look at. This is a more spread out version of that. And Mr. Vinay said that you agreed to it. When, is it like right now you're agreeing to? When was it agreed to?
We sent over the feedback from the Wednesday meeting of the bullet points that we provided. We
When was
removed
that? When was that?
the Wednesday meeting that we all had last week.
And when did you send over? I have the email and I don't see, was it with your email?
I sent it to Mr. Pravetti on Monday with the changes that we agreed to, which removed a few of the line items that were agreed to in that meeting to remove, and any adjustments that our attorney reviewed and wanted wording changed.
Okay.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, Sam, in your presentation to us, did it include the updates then?
I went by verbally. We've been talking every night. He says they would agree to it.
Okay,
But
so,
I didn't open the email because I was busy doing the budget
okay,
presentation.
so I just want to make sure I have all the facts here. Mike, from a treasurer's standpoint, and since your office is hit the hardest with the bills, you're comfortable with the dates, the rollout as it stands?
Yeah, the three of us met with Priority. We had an extensive list. We narrowed it down. We took 6 or 7 of them out because they were infeasible.
Okay.
And I just summarized it, as Clerk Brown said. I just expanded it a little bit more, so it gives the people the reason why and
Sure.
the purpose of what doing that.
And
So
the response.
instead of just throwing it out there, give people a reason why this has to be done and how the effects are going to be.
So you're comfortable. And then Supervisor Pravetti, has your office gotten any new complaints, or is this leveled off? Because I thought we would see more
It's
people
leveled
here
off.
tonight.
It started, like I said, the bills went out December 1st, so that first week of December, we got the first 100. Then it tapered down. By Christmas, it stopped. Now we get about 1 a week. So that's why we're right around 200. And that, we made a Google spreadsheet, so they see it, we see any changes.
As a matter of fact, we had a couple come in the clerk's office today. Mary was there, and they came in to pay their tax bill, but they were in the wrong office. And the wife had her check that she had prepaid, and yet they were on the delinquent tax roll. What can we do about it? So we sent them over across the hall. But I think it's because people are paying. The winter tax bills went out. Some of them paid them immediately. Some of them paid now. So there still are errors out there, but we know you're going to try to correct these. So it's a big task, but we hope you can do it. And we have to, and I think we have to have the recourse for the constituents, and that has to be that if these things are not corrected, these bullet points, then we are not rolling anything on the tax bills, and you will not be paid. You have to collect it yourself. That's a big penalty, and we have to agree to that.
Well, of course, remember too, they're carrying that huge negative. They're carrying the 198,000 on their backs right now, and they're still
Exactly.
picking up the people's garbage.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
agree.
I do commend you for that.
I appreciate it. Yep.
It's amazing that you're still providing a service, yet you haven't been paid. So there is something to be said.
I agree.
Yes.
Can I ask about the auto pay?
Yes.
A lot of people put that on their, credit card for the auto pay? And if their credit card information changes, do you send a reminder to notify them, like, you're on auto pay? And if your credit card's information has changed, you need to let us know, or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, so if the resident is elected into an electronic means to receive their invoice, like the illustration in the PowerPoint, I think it was this one, if they receive that, it'll show account on auto pay paid. Now, if their credit card is not up to date, let's just say it expired, or you had to get a new card because of fraud concerns.
Right.
I don't know exactly this second how that may be illustrated, if it would show on auto pay, not paid, unpaid, or if it would show not on auto, or just would take out the auto paid. I can definitely get that information. What, again, the system that's coming in that Mr. French and Felicia had shared with the team is their expertise. That's where they know things, and that's why we wanted to show the account on auto pay paid note. If there's an account issue with the way that they've elected into it, I'm sure there's a notice. I don't know how it would look, but I can get that for the.
Is it something that resident can update online?
Absolutely,
You don't
yes.
have to call in and wait and
Correct.
hold or anything like
Correct,
that?
yeah, they can go onto our website, log into their account if they have an account already established, or establish an account and set that up as well.
Okay. Important to me, because I do everything auto pay, so.
Me too.
Could you go over a little bit about how you updated the website and make it more consumer friendly?
Yeah, so on our website, the current platform requires you to have all of your account information in depth, right? Which means your account info, the account number, invoice number, in order to log in, to remember. There's also, if you were locked out of your account, instead of you being able to ask to reset your password, you'd have to call our office to have that password reset. And it's a functionality on the backside of the website that just is not, again, easy for the residents. So this new platform that we're rolling out with the new billing software, they'll be able to do all of it almost hands-free at the comfort of their home, on their couch, kicked up, with their feet kicked up. So that way they don't have to have their account information. They can look that up based on their address or the information that's on the account. So that way it takes some of the requirements that were previously mentioned to have on hand if they're doing it in between a billing cycle. The website will also, if they put in their contact information, as I mentioned, email and cell phone, we can send automated messages out like, you, ma'am or sir, missed your payment, your account is overdue. Again, going after the DTE template.
My wife showed me on the website, you have, payment history is very difficult to find. And even if you do find it, it only goes back so far.
Yes.
So is that being corrected?
Yes, and that's what will be improved with this new system when it gets rolled out. There will be a lot more visibility, much more customer-friendly viewpoint, more easy to identify and understand.
Great.
Dan, can you go over one more thing? When people call in, how you improve that in the callback scenarios that you have?
Yeah, so in the meeting, the members of the committee expressed the notes or messages that they'd received from the members of the public on how difficult it may be to get in touch with us. We understood that, and we had already engaged, so I'm glad to say that we're in a much better position today than we were even 2 months ago. But in July, when we acquired the GFL contracts and services, that means we took on 750,000 homes to service in a day. The previous service provider had some struggles throughout the month of June. So day one, July 1st, we got about 5,000 calls within the first 2 or 3 hours. People that were missed last week that had issues from the week before that obviously we had no idea about. And that caused the system, our phone system, more or less to crash in and upon itself. We were able to identify the issue, but it wasn't a correctable issue. It was going to reoccur every time we got that volume of calls. And we saw that for the foreseeable future with what we took over. We were all dealing with the trucks and the assets that we took over, having 47% of them needing to be put down out of service for an extended period of time due to safety reasons to keep our employees safe on the roadways. So in the second week of July, we identified the root cause of the issue, knowing that it was not a fix that we could do with the current system. We re-engaged with AWS, Amazon Web Services, to get their phone system live on in our office. It normally takes 9 to 12 months to roll out a new phone system. We got the first phase rolled in September, around the 15th, the second phase in October, the third phase in November, and the final fourth at the middle part of December. So by the 1st of January, everything was in place. New phone hardware, the capability to take phones from your computer as opposed to a physical phone itself. What that also allowed us to do is information in the background working, like AI components, that if you're a frequent caller or you call multiple times for billing issues, whether it be for commercial, like front load, because that happens quite a bit, or roll-offs, it will automatically route your call to the person you spoke to last. So it'll make it easier, less prompts, right? I know when I've called Xfinity, it's press 1 for this, press 7 for that, press 2 for this, and then you get on hold and you wait. In addition, we also have a callback feature. Now, service-wise, our hold times as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, the last time I checked, for the day and the week roll, we were at 3 minutes and 15 seconds for service-related calls, and for the week, we were under 3 minutes.
Can you also tell them that you separate townships so you know exactly who's calling in on that thing?
Yeah, so and that is the whole. For each individual municipality, we have teams that take on those calls, individuals in our corporate office in Clinton Township that are responsible for kind of regional-based calls, because regionally, everything is similar if you look at Washington Township to neighbors outside of different services, but they have a breakdown of the service contract. So when you call and talk to somebody about Washington Township, you're talking to somebody that's like a professional in Washington Township service. And those calls were under 2 minutes. Just Washington Township was under 2 minutes. So people are getting to us in a quick manner and getting off the phone in a quick manner. Billing does take more time. Billing is a more individual conversation. You typically tell a story when there's a billing issue. Like, it's not, hey, you missed my trash, I need you to come back and return it. It's, hey, I have a record on my account that I paid this bill on this day. This is the transaction code. This is where it was applied to. And it takes some time to research those. So those calls do take time. In November, we doubled our billing staff to help field more calls faster. We also have this callback feature, which everything is being returned same day unless you call about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a tighter window for us to call back same day, but you're first on the callback list the next morning. So you're getting a call within 24 hours to resolve or answer any questions that you have. And a lot of them from Washington Township in December primarily were, I just paid my bill, why is it on my delinquent? And we explained to them it was a period from October 1 of 2023 to September 30th of 2024. But, of course, like I said earlier, 10,000 residential homes, we will make a mistake. Maybe we apply it to the wrong payment, or it's sitting open on the account unapplied to an invoice because it wasn't identifying the invoice. We make those corrections with that resident at that moment. We send the check back to them, or we remit the funds back to them immediately, so that way they're made whole in the whole process. So, again, there's a lot of things that happen that are on both sides of the table, uncontrollable events that we're just trying to tidy up, and I'm appreciative of the committee to sit down and talk and hear and tell me. If we wouldn't have had the conversation in December as we did, a lot of the information that you brought to me, we took immediate action to, and I hope that you saw that in our meeting last week on Wednesday.
And one more other thing, I'm sorry. We talked about having a consistent talk path. So if you can talk a little bit about when somebody calls in, if they talk to person A and person B, it's going to be the similar message, but not necessarily one said different, one said something differently.
Yeah, unlike a lot of companies in our industry, they have massive call centers in different states or even different countries that field calls, they take information, it comes to them, and they don't know Washington Township from Shelby Township from Monroe, right? They just know that it's a city or a township or a village or whatever in Michigan, and they answer or log the call, and it's not very personal. So in our office, we have experts of the municipalities in which they call. That's the person that handles their issue. Billing can be done mostly with the team because they're aware of all of our communities. We don't have as many direct bills. We have about 13 to 14 direct bill communities. So the group that we have assembled in our corporate office knows Washington Township, knows what and how to handle these issues for Washington Township, knowing your service is significantly different than, let's say, Sterling Heights or New Baltimore or the city of Detroit, that you have that a la carte option. So they have the information available to them, so it's consistent chatter or conversation on the phone between the individual, the resident, and the person in our staff.
I'd like to make the motion to extend the existing contract with Priority Waste for an additional 5 years with an addendum ensuring that a preliminary past due account list is provided by September 30th for review, and a final past due list is submitted by October 30th before outstanding balances are applied to property taxes, and also to authorize our supervisor and Mr. Siebert to get together and put together the proper paperwork and get it signed.
Support.
Sam, can I just ask a question? Is the motion? Yeah, Dennis, is your motion just for those 3 or 4 bullet points, or are they for all of the items?
All the items.
All the items.
Okay, then that leads me to the next question.
That's part of my motion.
It appears that, Audrey's got a list in front of her of what she thinks the deal was, and Mike has put together a separate sheet with what he thinks the concerns are. Mr. Vinay indicated that their attorney looked.
Everything that they agreed to.
Well, I'm getting to that.
Right.
The question is, what the hell did they agree to? Mr. Vinay said he sent Sam an email on Monday where their lawyer looked at it and responded to some of the lists, and they wordsmithed some certain things and changed some certain things. Do you have that?
It's my understanding that Mike Nicely has that the list that he provided was what they agreed to.
And there was no change to it whatsoever?
That one already had the changes in
Yeah,
it.
the bullet
But
points.
Mike said he didn't get the
Where
Monday
was-
email.
The bullet points that Clerk Brown handed out are the exact same ones that we just went over tonight, minus the ones that we excluded out. Then after that process was done, then an email went back to priority, and they said, okay, we can do this, we can't do that. It's going to say she versus they, whatever the wording is on it. They looked at it, then they said, okay, this is what we can do based upon your bullet points. There was very little change on it except for a wording or two, and that's it.
So when I draft this, who has the list that
I'll
you're
give it.
approving? So this document that you read off of tonight, this has got the terms?
Some of the pages are missing, but I'm
Well,
not sure.
if you had all of it.
I'll get it all.
Are these the terms?
Yes,
Yes.
No changes?
no changes.
Dan, are you good with that? Yes, sir. Okay, done.
But Mike, Treasurer Nicely, you just said that your list that you typed today, that I'm just seeing, is the list that we put in the board packet that we talked about, minus some items. So I'm kind of confused.
He said
A
there was
little
some verbiage change.
We confirmed it?
No, verbiage,
Oh, verbiage.
yeah.
But we spoke to Priority on Wednesday, and we have heard nothing except an email from Dan Benet Tuesday evening saying he's happy to work with us, and he gave us a chart about extending the contract for 5 years. Is there another document that I do not have? Because
Put it over here.
if I
the
don't
same.
have it.
Oh, I've got it.
Your bullet points are the same as
Yeah.
hers, just what you wrote more.
Yep. So bullet points that were sent out are the exact same ones that we went over in our executive, or the committee meeting last Wednesday. Here's the sheet. Then they came back and said, okay, we decided to remove number 16, remove number 15, remove number 14, remove number 12, number 11, remove number 4 and number 5 as mutually agreed upon in the meeting. So that's the list.
Where was this email? I did not get this email. I'm sorry, and I'm part of the committee. I did not see this.
He said it was said at the meeting.
No. Treasurer Nicely was emailing with Priority to get the response. I have not seen that until now.
At our meeting, we sat there and we said, okay, these are the lists that everybody has. We all agreed upon
Right.
that we're going to remove this, we're going to remove that, we're going to remove that, we're going to move this, and this is the list off, this is a summarized list off what we went over in the meeting. That's all this is.
So Sam just sent me the email that Mr. Vinay had sent him. This is the list that will form the basis of the amendment, correct?
Yeah, this came February 3rd at 5:03.
Okay, but it says proposed solution for single waste hauler committee and priority waste meeting on 1/29/25 with priority amendments. And then there's got 1 through 19, and there's some red lines in here, and certain items from the prior list have been removed.
Got this one right here.
Okay, but I'm looking at it for the first time. I haven't seen it
So
tonight.
where
So
is that? I don't.
So
have
that was agreed to at the meeting, and then it was sent in a
Have you seen
summary
this?
form.
I have
as
not.
an email.
That's
Okay.
the problem. I have not seen that.
We have all seen it,
No.
just in a different version. Your
Okay,
version-
well, it's okay.
Yeah, her version was this, which was this. We went through it, and we said, no, 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 yes, yes, no. We crossed them all off. The 4 of us were there.
I just forwarded this to the
Yeah,
whole board.
and then I ended up just said, okay, let's expand on it a little bit because some of the wording was not correcting on there, and it didn't make sense to put it on there. So all I did was we ended up saying, for example, one of them was had a missed date on there or something along the lines like that. But everything we went over in the meeting that we crossed off is on this exact same sheet. That's exactly what they got today and what everybody else got today.
And I appreciate you talking to Priority, but the question is, we were all waiting for word from Priority and heard nothing. So why did you take it upon yourself to negotiate with them? And I was not part of it, and I'm not sure if Supervisor Previti was. I don't mind the taking.
I just saw this.
I'm just, right. So why are there red lines on that sheet? And there was negotiations
When we
outside of the
sat
committee.
there- When we sat here, we were crossing them out. I think he just highlighted them red.
That's all he did. Yeah. We're going way off topic here. The motion is to accept it or deny it. I apologize to anybody that didn't get the A list or the B list. as I explained earlier, this was all done this afternoon. I didn't have time to get it out in time. I'm sorry some pages were missing. I went over it in detail. This is the exact same information that we went over last Wednesday, minus the yellow, minus the green, and just highlighted exactly what it needed to be done, how it needed to be done, and why this needs to be done to correct it. Everything that we went over again on last Wednesday is the exact same bullet points that I just went over today. Just expanded a little few more sentences there. That's it. I think we need to get back to the business and either accept or deny the motion and move forward.
So we are good on the motion. It's been moved and supported.
Need to vote.
3 or 5?
Fine.
5. So it's a motion by Stevenson, seconded by Chaplin.
Yes.
Any other questions? Otherwise, roll call.
Stevenson,
Yes.
Chaplin,
Yes.
Purvidi,
Yes.
Brown, no. Nicely,
Yes.
Mylum,
Yes.
Reinhold,
Yes.
Okay, just so we're clear, I'm going to prepare a draft of a First Amendment to this agreement, and I'm going to bring it back. You'll have it for the next board meeting. You'll have it well in advance. I'll circulate it to all board members so you can see exactly in black and white what it is you just agreed to this evening, and you can give me the thumbs up or not, and if it's good to go, then you can get it executed. Good?
Okay, thank you.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I just want to say for myself, it was easy to vote because there was only 10 items here, and I could quickly read the 10. So I don't want you to think that I didn't look at this list. Do you know what I'm saying here? It was just 10 items, and they all seem to go with what you were mainly concerned with.
One moment. Dan, have fun on the couch, and I hope you get some sleep with that little one there. Thanks for coming out. I'm sorry.
And another thing, just to reiterate, we invited the public. I received correspondence, and all of the correspondence I received was in favor of voting yes. So I didn't receive anything to vote no. Was there any correspondence sent in?
That's unusual
Yes.
too, because usually the only people that respond are ones that want to complain.
Yeah, there was a couple of residents were concerned that we would screw up their great rate. And so for me, it was an easy vote.
He has a question. Did you have a question? Oh. Oh,
Sorry, I was at the beginning of the meeting on that.
Did we do a good job, or do you want to tell us something?
I just wanted to know, they've got the fee, the Visa charge, the credit card fee, that's becoming now
standard.
commonplace, which I've always thought was the cost of doing business. So I wanted to know if 3.1% was negotiable. Did you guys already discuss how much their fee would be
No.
for the credit card?
Dan, you may want to step in, but
Poor Dan thought he was
that's
going
okay.
home to his new baby.
typically, businesses can't control what Visa or MasterCard or the American Express are charging. It's a fee that they charge the company. So if you go to the gas station, you either get cash or you get credit. So the cash is obviously less expensive, but the credit has that surcharge on there. We do the same thing here with a company called Invoice Cloud. That's our third-party vendor for credit card payments. We have no control over that. They pass that along, and so it's a pass-through a charge. And probably the same way with your company, too.
Yeah, that's correct. So the 3.1% is only on credit card transactions. If you pay by check or you do automated clearinghouse, ACH direct from your bank, there are no associated fees.
Yeah.
So we try to give options so that if you, my friends make fun of me, I'm the oldest 37-year-old in the world. I pay by check for my landscaping, for my True Green, for all these things. So I'm an avid check user if you have it.
Mhm. Yep.
Correct.
That's
Yes.
not the only customer contact we have, though, right? We can call that number.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Business hours that a customer can call that number.
Yeah, we are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Operation. So you can call us anytime between those hours, Monday through Friday. And if you call us and it's after hours, I believe there is a option to leave a callback at that time as well. But if you call during the day, you can either stay and wait, or you get the call back so you're not waiting on the phone. You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Glad we could answer your question. That was great. Good question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Okay, next is new business, 11.1, to set the public hearing date of February 19, 2025 regarding the Parks and Recreation and Star budget. So that'll be my motion to set the
Support.
public hearing date. Okay, supported by Dennis Stevenson. No questions, roll call?
1 second. Praviti,
Yes.
Stevenson,
Yes.
Brown, yes. Nicely,
Yes.
Mylum,
Yes.
Reinhold,
Yes.
Chaplin.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Next is 11.2. We got the chief here to talk about internet services, the RMS for the department.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, Board of Trustees. Thanks for your time tonight, and I want to start by thanking you for allowing me to do this last-minute audible, right, and change your agenda. We pulled that request to purchase that ambulance out. It was just some inadequate information. I wasn't comfortable with certainly giving that over to the board. So, but if you did read it, thank you. We will be, it's my intention to be back in 2 weeks and discuss that, so it's not a waste of your time, but I just need more information in there. I am before you tonight, though, with that second agenda item. I think it's pretty straightforward, even though I did provide a lot of historical data, if you did read that, talking about the National Fire Incident Reporting System that fire departments across really the United States. It's mandated by the United States Fire Administration, and Michigan statute requires Michigan fire departments to report under this NFIRS protocol data, and then there's a bunch of different software companies that sell that to fire departments. If you did read through this proposal, you found out that the United States Fire Administration over the last year rolled out a new NERIS system, right? A new modern technological way that fire departments are going to report all of their fire data. Everything we do every day gets reported to the state and then sends up to the United States Fire Administration. It's called NERIS. The USFA is mandating all fire departments in the country to switch over to a NERIS software platform by January 1st of 2026. With that, that got my attention. So we engaged a few different companies. I rolled out some demos to the folks, our paramedic firefighters and our officers that are actually going to be inputting the data with this platform. We ended up focusing on Tyler Technology Emergency Network NERIS platform. We demoed that, and that's why I'm before you today with asking for permission to proceed with securing that software and that platform. It gets a little bit confusing when we start looking at the dollars here, right? The proposal that came out of ComTech, AKA Macomb County Sheriff, dispatches the Washington Township Fire Department. We also have an agreement with the Macomb County Sheriff's Department. Under the law enforcement agreement also has a dispatch function that the fire department pays. Within that dispatch function, there's hardware refresh dollar amounts. There are IT, Macomb County IT support, and this falls under the Macomb County IT support function. I'm before you asking for a total maintenance fee due to Macomb County in 2025 of $39,980. We break it out a little bit further with the emergency networking suite being $6,350, and then recurring fees through Macomb County IT. I'm trying to paraphrase and summarize. I know what you had before you is a lot more detail. Here is what is interesting. If you were to pull up the contract for 2025, if we didn't do anything, 2025, where's it at? Was about $52,000. So we're actually going to be saving money if the board does allow us to switch over to option one with the emergency network under Tyler Technology. I believe that savings will be due because there's a lot of cloud-based software platforms that reduces Macomb County IT's maintenance and licensing items. I'm rushing through this. I don't know why. I think I know why. I think you've done a lot of great work tonight, and I didn't want to burden you any further with additional redundant information that you already have in front of you. So, long story short is the United States Fire Administration is making every fire department across the country switch. It's mandated January 1st, 2026. I wanted our team to get ahead of that curve. If we wait, I'm envisioning a whole lot of fire departments across the country jumping on new software nearest platforms and probably overloading systems. The cost for the maintenance in 2025 is $39,980. If approved, we will, Angela Elsey is my dispatch director. She's been working with me on this. She wanted to be here tonight to help me explain it better. But if approved, she will ask Macomb County Legal to amend the dispatch part of our agreement. It actually will come down, it looks like. And certainly when I get my hands on that, if this board approves it, I will get it over to Mr. Siebert.
Okay, question number
Yes.
one. Does this help get us to our #1 rating that we're trying to, like, having a better management system
You
for
know,
files?
in a roundabout way, what it does do is help us continue the impact that our dispatchers are having, right? Creating a zero response times with the way dispatchers answer the phone and give immediate interrogation and pre-arrival instructions. What you may not know about the records management system is part of that is every time the dispatcher types in a conversation, it comes right to our computers in our trucks, and that's part of this platform. It's a little bit more than records management, but it's CAD, computer automated dispatch. We're already scoring very, very well in the dispatch function. So it may not improve it on the ISO rating. It certainly will not hurt. Where we are lacking is in training, and that's probably a conversation for another night. What we need is facility training for our paramedic firefighters, and that's why you are starting to hear me talk about a regional training center at the new fire station and whatnot. But it'll help us maintain our ISO rating as we speak. But more importantly, real world, it helps my team adhere to my requirement of a 4-minute response time, and helps that dispatcher remain impactful.
Is this something you sent out for bids, or is this the only company can provide the service?
This is the only company that I landed on and researched and demoed. We looked at a couple other platforms. First Due is another platform out there that has this nearest system out. There's a couple more. Our ESO is our platform for our EMS reporting. Our patient reporting part of that goes into ESO. We've already got that ESO platform, and they are just now starting to roll out the nearest. I think they're behind the 8 ball, so they weren't available to demo. But the big deal is, I met with Sterling Heights and Clinton Township and other Macomb County departments that are dispatched by Comtech along with us. And I got their feedback on other platforms, and I sat through some of the demos, and it didn't quite meet expectations, and there was a big concern on my part to get away from our own standalone different platform than what Comtech's using, as well as another 5 or 6 departments that are dispatched. So the short answer is no. We did not get another quote from another nearest software platform because I wasn't happy with the product yet.
Did you say you demoed these?
We demoed the emergency network almost to a fault, 2 or 3 different times.
Okay.
I witnessed some demo by Sterling Heights on some other platforms, and we all came to the same conclusion that it wasn't meeting our expectations.
So you've got 2 options on here.
Yes.
Very technical question here.
Yes.
Which one do you want?
Option 1 was feedback coming back from our paramedic firefighters, those folks in the field that are inputting this data every day. The difference between the options really comes down to hardware. The emergency network that I'm recommending out of option 1 connects, it's cloud-based, but it connects to our MDCs, our hardware in the trucks. Option 2 was a web-based crew force, which would allow us to utilize iPads and a web-based version of the nearest emergency network. My team was not happy at all with that second web-based iPad configuration in our trucks. Those iPads, the MDCs give such vital information to all of our paramedic firefighters almost from the minute the wheels start rolling. Turn-by-turn directions, it gives live updates on dispatchers, interrogation and questions, gives updates on all the radio traffic, updates on if there's keyless entry, all kinds of stuff that is so crucial, including if it's a commercial occupancy, pre-fire planning, if the officer has time, he can look at inspection data. So we were not, when I say we, my team was not comfortable at all transitioning to an iPad and a web-based option 2 yet. I was intrigued, and actually that's why we demoed it more than once, is because there's a substantial savings if you saw that. But the savings did not equate, I guess, to suffice with my team. I had to go with the folks that use it every day. Option 1 is what they strongly recommended, and I'm going to certainly support that, and that's why I'm before you tonight asking for permission to proceed with option 1.
Who's using option 1 that you could, like, is there another municipality that's using option 1?
There's a good mix. When I look at comparables, I look at comparable size departments and same business model, and clearly we're smaller than Sterling or Clinton, but we run the same business model. Ray Township, for example, and Armada, I talked to those chiefs. They have a mix. I think some of them went with option 2, the web-based iPad version, but they're smaller and a lot less incidents to deal with.
Thinking, who's using Tyler Technologies out there?
I can tell you within Macomb County,
Yes.
it's everyone that's dispatched by Contact, aka Macomb County Sheriff. To name a few: Sterling Heights, Clinton Township, Washington Township, Ray, Armada are brand new to the dispatch center. Harrison Township and Macomb Township.
So based on it helping response time, and we're so water insecure in parts, so response time is everything, I would like to make a motion to approve option 1 to request and acquire, purchase Tyler Technology Emergency Network Records Management System, RMS Suite.
Second.
Is there two things at one-time cost of $63.50, and the other one with under recurring fees of $39,980? Are you looking for both of those? What dollar amount are we?
That's why I wanted Angela here, because it is confusing even for me to look at.
Because under recurring fees, it adds up to that $39,880.
Right.
But you got a one-time cost of $63.
It's my belief that we're going to see an invoice for $6,350.
So you
and
want
then
both approved?
I would like both approved. I guess what I'm looking for is total, is that $39,980.
But that doesn't include the 63.
Actually, right, if we could somehow wordsmith this to where you allow me to pursue the emergency network suite with $6,350,
Okay.
knowing that it's going to amend the dispatching contract and reduce it to $39,980,
So it could amend.
beginning, I believe it's April. I think it aligns with our fiscal year. Or Christine, I'm looking at Christine. Because the Sheriff's Department
Okay,
invoices us for dispatching function,
okay.
and annually in '25, it's going to be $39,980, down from whatever it is in your packet,
I just wanted to
$52,000.
make sure everybody knew what we're
I
voting
can
on.
amend the
If
motion.
we need to put the dollar amount in.
Yes, I can amend the motion then
Okay.
to provide $39,980 towards the purchase for RMS system. Does that
Okay.
work for you?
And the one-time cost
And a one-time cost
of $63.50.
of $63.50.
Which could be amended, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
The
I'm sorry, I-
$39,980 is an annual fee, annual cost, right?
yeah.
It's not a one, right.
No, it says one time above it.
Right.
The 39,000 is an annual.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And that will be handled and adjusted or amended in the
Yes.
dispatching contract, which Mr. Siebert will see. So that's, I believe we're 99% there and correct with it. The invoice we'll get for emergency network, the new RMS, $6,350, and then we'll amend the dispatch contract under the total maintenance fees will reduce to $39,980.
Okay, I second the motion.
So we have a motion by Mylum, seconded by Brown. If no questions, roll call.
Mylum,
Yes.
Brown, yes. Nicely,
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Reinhold,
Yes.
Thanks.
Praviti,
Yes.
and I'm sorry, Chaplin.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
Thank you.
Any chance now that we've approved this, you're not going to come back in 2 weeks and ask for 320,000?
You know,
You're so
I know you've had a long night. No, I do, there is some urgency and some priority with that request, but that doesn't supersede the fact that I want to give you all
We're
the
looking
info.
forward to your presentation.
But you're going to see a little bit of me with some items, but, it'll come with all the justification, rationale, and history that you're used to seeing from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We just finished Fire Appreciation Week, and this past couple of weeks, we received some tremendous emails on the work that the fire department has done. So I just want to acknowledge the fire department, their team, and everything that they have done during every day of the year, but especially for this Fire Appreciation Week. So thank you so much, Chief, for
Thank you.
everything that you do.
Thank you.
You'll see me send that to the whole board if you so choose to not get those. But when I had that proud moment or that resident reach out to me or, some of the things you see, it's important to me that I share that with you. And I wish there was a better way that I could share it with all of our residents. It's remarkable what happens behind the scenes, 8 a.m. to 8 a.m., not just on emergency calls where we're receiving expectations, but those high-risk, low-frequency calls that you were part of. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be prouder of the individuals we have on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, next is 11.3, approve the request of design service for the 30-mile road Macomb Orchard Trail crossing upgrades. So in your board packet, I actually got this idea from my counterpart in Chesterfield. They've been putting these signals out on their walk paths. The sidewalk committee reviewed it. I think this is a good safety feature. We're starting out with the 30-mile road, Macomb Orchard Trail, because the area is kind of overgrown. As you ride your bike or walk, you press the button. It notifies the drivers as they're driving down 30 Mile to the expressway. I'd like to see this at West Road and 31 Mile Road in the following years, if possible. But I'm requesting if the board will approve from the sidewalk committee to allow Spalding the Decker the $7,500 for design services of this, which will include the topos for it, the permits, and the construction document. Oh, the construction documents will be included as part of our 29-mile road improvements bidding process. But it requires restriping of the crossing, installing the beacon light, and the upgrade of the road pavement to make it ADA compliant. So that's basically that red square with the bumps on the ground for ADA compliant.
But were you going to speak?
Maybe I'll be helpful. Supervisor Praviti, so if I'm right, these are enhancements to the Macomb Orchards Trail.
It's a safety feature.
Okay, so I don't know if I would have probably, I don't know how I missed this, but I should have done a better job. I sit on that committee, as does John now, and there's money in that committee we were made aware of. I would like to take an opportunity to see if we could get any money out of the committee before we vote on this, because we were made aware just on Friday that they had money to spend on the trail.
Interesting.
And they don't know what to spend it on, basically.
Well, we want to do it at other corners too, 28, 29, those areas.
Well, I would like to take a
You
minute.
get the money for the other ones.
Before we decide on this tonight, I would like to pause on this for just half a minute, just till the next meeting, just to see if I could potentially, if there's access any funds there.
Okay.
If that's okay with you. I mean, up to you, whatever you want me to do.
No, it's fine. I've been trying to get this the past year, so it's fine with me. Our past representative never told us that, so that's why.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not you. It was the.
So Trustee Marlin, I agree that's a great idea, but I think we should investigate that. But in reading this document from Spalding D. Decker, I was kind of unclear about the $7,500, what it was exactly for. So I called Taylor Reynolds, the engineer, who was here earlier today. I spoke with her. She was very nice. And she cleared it up for me and said that the $7,500 is only for the surveying and engineering phase. That's it. The other parts, the striping and all of these other items, are going to be bid out.
Yeah.
Right, but I wasn't
right.
sure. I know that, but I wasn't sure. The $7,500 is only for the surveying and engineering, not the striping and the improvement of the road. That portion, the scope of services below, is going to be bid out, and she estimated it could be $25,000 to $30,000, depending. It's a small project, But she said it's a little project, and they're going to tack it on to the, what did she tell me?
29
The 29 Mile Road
Says
project,
it.
because, exactly, because with projects that are 25,000 to the contractor, that's kind of a small thing to bid on, so they like to group it together with a bigger project, the 29 Mile Road, which is a bigger project. So she explained that to me. So Supervisor Praviti, I know you've worked on this. I don't know, is there room for Trustee Milam to put funds towards the engineering with the orchard trail? Could we do it?
I
don't
personally
know.
can't allocate what the Macomb
But
Orchard
could we?
Trail would do, but I
It's a
would
good
like to
idea.
investigate it and come back to the board. I
Yes.
promise to do it like priority one, just to, I know it's
Tonight.
important to y'all, and I'll
Okay.
make it a priority.
Move to table this for, until our next meeting then?
Yep.
Sorry.
It's a
Okay.
good idea.
Roll call?
The motion is to table?
Yeah.
And support?
I second.
And second, okay, great. All right.
that's okay. It's just
Motion,
so-
one
so
second,
we-
sorry about that. Motion to table, okay, and second, excuse me, Mylum. Chaplin,
Yes.
Mylum,
Yes.
Praviti,
Yes.
Brown, yes. Stevenson,
Yes.
Nicely,
Yes.
and Reinhold.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you. That'll be the first time we ever got money.
That's a good idea.
Good news.
Literally, when I
Good
went to
idea.
my first meeting, they
Worth looking
said,
into.
we
You're
have
already
money.
doing a
I'm
good
so-
job at it, Michelle. Good job.
Anytime somebody tells me they have money, I'm all ears. Bring it home.
They may
Good
not
for you.
allocate
Every
towards the
dollar
engineering, but
counts.
if we can get something for the actual
Good job.
construction, that would be nice.
Yeah, we'll see what we can
Good
do,
job.
guys. No promises.
Now, the dollar would be better than.
Now it's comments from audience on anything, basically, non-agenda or agenda or anything you want to talk about. If you
Comments
do,
from the
please come to
audience?
the podium. You have
Yes.
3 minutes. State your name and address.
Hello. Cecilia Simonson, 11370 Juliet. I apologize. Supposedly, I'm supposed to come to the podium to make comments, but until I heard the facts about the waste, I didn't know what questions to ask. I have a lot of questions. But like another one I want to mention, is AI going to ever be a possibility of the waste hauler? Because I was on a call the other day, actually almost an hour and a half, and I ended up calling my daughter because we were texting, and I said to them, my arm hurts so bad it's going to fall off. My daughter said I was probably talking to a computer who couldn't care less about my arm. So that's number one. I wanted to know if AI would probably be implemented as a business plan for, what is it, priority waste? Okay, and then I want to make a comment about tonight that I am kind of embarrassed that, Sam, you didn't read the email when it came through. And so I need to see a little more preparation, especially if it's a team working on a project. So I would like to see more hand-in-hand preparation for the meetings. So thank you for listening to my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Any other comments?
I can tell you real quick that they do have AI systems, so when somebody calls in, they're supposed to, if you have a question, pull it up and get the question the right way. I can't answer that 100% for sure, but I think that's the way they're going towards. So, yeah. We'll see. Yeah.
Any others? Going once, going twice? Okay, thank you. Next is elected officials update, community announcements. We still have the community survey I've put out. I'm proud to report we just hit 1,001, so we're a lot higher than I had last year. The deadline's February 15th, so we got 10 more days. The website's really long, so if you just go to our website, you can click on the link right there.
I have, I'm sorry, are you done?
No. not
I'm
done.
sorry, I apologize.
Okay. We're closed February 17th for President's Day. Speaking of President's Day, February 23rd is open house at the Washington Historical Museum. It's George Washington's birthday celebration there. So I welcome everyone that come there. Mark your calendars, April 11. It's a Friday night. Last year I threw the 197th anniversary. This year it will be the 198th anniversary of Washington Township. So I welcome everyone as we march on to our bicentennial. It will be held again at the Abbey in downtown Romeo. And we're going to be honoring several residents at the event.
April 11th, you said?
Yeah, April 11th. We'll be posting stuff. You can go on our Washington Historical website for more information, and I'll be sending out stuff too, but it's WashHist, WASHHISTSOC.org is the website. We'll be posting stuff there. It's a long website. And today I had our first budget workshop. So I've been consumed with that for the last 3 weeks. We'll be meeting with different department heads over the next week. Our next Wednesday, we'll have our next actual working budget workshop. I'll be presenting budget workshop sheets to the board here to review as we go over it. The public is welcome. It'll be at 3 p.m. next Wednesday and the following Wednesday. The dates are listed and times on our website and on the front door. And that's it for me right now.
Yes, and we have an update from the clerk's office. We have good news. We had an audit from the state of Michigan Elections, Bureau of Elections, and they came here on Tuesday, and they were supposed to be here from 8:30 until 11:30, but they stayed until 3:30. It was a very lengthy audit. And I learned from my excellent deputy, Mary, wave to us, Mary Garames, that when she's so awesome. And when they decide who's going to be audited, the state of Michigan Election Bureau, they actually do a roll of the dice. I guess they have these giant dice, and they roll them, and they decide which communities are going to be audited. So lucky us, we got audited for the general election. So they looked at what they did a hand count of precinct 1 of all the early voting. That's a big process. They did precinct 6, the general election ballots. They hand counted those. They did precinct 6, the AV counting board as well. And they also looked at, they went over all of our procedures, all of our paperwork, that it was completed correctly. They reviewed our election laws to make sure they were being followed. And the only thing that was, I guess we got an excellent score. And Mary said the only thing that was missing was one signature on one document that was, but it wasn't out of thousands of things. It was very small. So they got a fabulous score. And I would like to thank Mary Garames, my deputy clerk. And I'd like to thank my predecessor, Stan Babinski, because he ran the election. And the entire team. They have a lot of great election workers, and they do such a good job. We have so many volunteers. I had nothing to do with it. I'm just reporting it, and I'm learning a lot from Mary, and I just think they deserve a round of applause for a great election. Thank you. Thank you.
You done, Ms. Brown?
I'm
Oh, you're
done.
done?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm done.
Just a reminder again, we went over this a couple times. Taxes are going to be due at the end of the month. Please make sure that if you're putting them in the mail, they're in the mail by February the 14th. We've had delays in the mail. We don't want anybody to get penalized because they're getting lost in the mail or any other scenarios like that. Any of the unpaid taxes that are not paid by February the 28th must be turned over to the Macomb County Treasurer's Department, and they will charge additional fees and penalties to it. So please try to get that in as quickly as you can, so that you don't have to worry about any of those fees that will be passed on by the county. If you attempt to make a payment here after March the 1st, we cannot accept it, so you'll be forced to go to the county to get that cleared up. So please make sure you get that taken care of as soon as you can. Wanted to say thank you to Rich's department and all the DPW department for the water sewer, or the sewer break that took place. I'm sure it was very yucky and not too pleasant to be down in there. The weather was not cooperative as it should, for for winter. But it could have been much colder. But I just want to say thank you to Rich and his entire department and to the other Macomb County TPW departments and Commissioner Miller for helping everybody out to make sure that gets corrected right away. So I want to say thank you to that. One last thing, remember St. Baldrick's is coming around the corner. 1 in 5 kids will not survive cancer. So please, if you get an opportunity to support St. Baldrick's, that's going to be on March the 15th, starting at noon at the Romeo Lions Club. It's a great event just to show up and support the kids that are there. Last year, we were fortunate to have wide receiver Herman Moore there to shave some kids' heads, and they just got a big kick out of it. So if you get an opportunity to show up, just to show your support, that's great. If you want to put a team together, let me know, and I can get you in touch with the person that's doing that. If there's any companies out there want to sponsor anything, let me know. I'll be glad to take care of that too. So remember that is March the 15th. So thank you.
Yeah, I should have elaborated on the sewer. I talked about it at the budget workshop. The news couldn't understand, all of our sewer in Washington Township ends at 26 and Hayes. From there, back in 1978, we got an easement in Macomb Township from 26 to 23. Basically, from 26 to 25 is it's forced main, sorry. From 25 to 23, it's gravity, just estimating the area there. Back in 2010, a sleeve was put over the pipe from 25 to 23 to ensure the durability of it. This pipe was ductile iron. It should last about 80 to 85 years. So we are investigating what did go wrong. In the meantime, I've been working with Mike Kozak and Rich. We're trying to come up with a couple options to either camera the pipe, either by putting a relief drain or using another form. It's basically using like what the sonic waves down the pipe to make sure that this doesn't happen again if we have to fix a certain area. Again, it happened a lot better than what we thought. The break was at the bottom of the pipe. If it was at the top of the pipe, it would have shot up like, as the Beverly Hillbilly says, Texas tea. So it was a lot better. The news couldn't understand why it was a Washington pipe in Macomb Township. But again, that pipe is what keeps Washington rural, because if the pipe was larger, you would see a lot more development in Washington Township. That pipe is what's controlling the development. A lot of people just think people build here. People follow the sewer line. The sewer is what controls the development. And with the constraints on our sewer capacity, that's obviously why you see certain areas of the township developed and certain areas not developed, in layman's terms.
No.
So,
Good job.
So we were on hourly calls with Candace and Health Department, Eagle, everybody was on there, and Mike Kozak and his team were working on verifying the overflow and all that. So thank you again, everyone. If there's no correspondence here.
Motion to adjourn?
We're not missing anything, no correspondence. So motion by Chaplin, seconded by Stevenson, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, motion passed. Thank you, WBRW. Thank you for all for attending.